What's up, everybody? Welcome to the lab. Good to see you. Good to be here. Got a great show for you tonight. A special guest, a birthday guest. That's right. You heard me. A birthday guest. Dr. Gary Brucato, forensic psychologist, author of The New Evil. And you can also pick up The New Evil anywhere books are sold. If you get it on Amazon, make sure to leave a review. And it's greatly appreciated. Dr. Gary, happy 29th birthday to you, my friend. And
that's in dog years.
Dog years, cat years. I don't know. I don't think cats aren't done the same way as dogs for some reason, are they?
In terms of counting their
yeah, I don't know. I never understood that.
No. But I think dog years are 7 years, but cat years are. I think there's also a way of counting those. We've got to look it up. But
it's like every 3 years, I guess. But happy birthday. How do you feel? You know, everybody asks, do you feel older? I doubt that you do.
I feel hot. It's very hot in this where I am right now. We had snow. It was freezing cold. And then there was like this slight warming, and it feels like being in Madonna's armpit. I don't know how to explain to you how hot it feels at this particular.
I mean, you tried and gave a very graphic.
Yes, it was a perfect description.
It was horrible, but it made sense when you told it to me. I said, "Yeah, I could see that. It sounds terrible."
Hot and airy.
I wonder why. Is it just because? The storms pass now and you're just muggy?
Probably something like that. It's like it's just this time of year. It's very manic depressive. It goes from, you know what I mean, like sub-zero to like next thing you know, everything will be in bloom, and I'll be sweating on the subway, with other people's armpits in proximity, wafting, mephitic odors. You'll see.
Mephitic odors, yeah. I figured that I told you that I was singing you happy birthday. I'm going to spare you
I know you would.
You want me to spare you? I'll spare you.
You know that actually we are not allowed to sing happy birthday. The Hill Sisters are supposed to collect royalty whenever that's performed publicly, which is why in restaurants they have to use silly made up melodies when they sing happy birthday, because if they sing the traditional happy birthday, they owe money.
Really?
Yes, that song still collects money.
Well, then I must owe retroactively probably, I don't know,
so
80 grand.
Happy birthday. You have to change it. Were you going to do an impersonation of somebody when you sang?
I was going to do the Marilyn Monroe one, but I don't know if you're ready for that.
It's already too hot in here.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be in her other armpit, do you?
No, not at all.
But anyway, we'll get to that here in a bit. But anyway, it's great to see. It's been a while since we did a show. I know that you weren't feeling all that well, and are you feeling better?
Feeling all right. There's a lot of things going on in the news, but I think the Guthrie case is extremely interesting. But it's dominated.
Sure.
And
sure.
there's all this other kind of true crime, all these true crime developments that are sort of being gobbled up in it. I understand it's extremely important, but one of the cases I was amazed. I had long been very interested in a case that wound up getting wrapped up um, just a couple of weeks ago. I thought the audience would be interested to hear about it. You want to pull it up?
Sure.
The Wikipedia article. I mean, this is somebody who was on the FBI's 10 most wanted list, wound up getting captured, and most people are not even going to have any idea what I'm talking about until you pull this up, because everything was just so gobbled up. Yeah, pull the Wikipedia article up and we'll read the summary of the case because it's just so.
Alejandro, right?
Oh God, yes. Yeah, pull the Wikipedia article up and start by showing the summary of all of his many aliases, because I think Wikipedia gives the full list of them. Dina Trumbley says it's also her husband's birthday. Yes, and Alexander Graham Bell's and Jessica Biel and
Jessica Biel's birthday.
Arlo's birthday. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So if you can make that a little bit larger. Is it possible to make that larger?
Yep.
Yeah. So see if you see all the aliases on the right side.
Yes.
Yeah. And that is clearly only a partial list where like they run out of room at the A, like the at that Alejandro name, but like he had many more. In fact, I'm almost positive that the one he used at the time of capture. Are you sure this is the right thing? Hold on a minute. Go to the left. This is the case I sent you?
Uh-huh.
Hold on a minute. Where's his picture? I thought the page had his picture. I want people to see his photo.
This photo?
Hold on. No. Hold on. I want them to see a very particular picture. Hold on. It's the just look up the case where you'll look at the same Wikipedia article that I have on my screen here. It's the Alexis Flores, Flores, Alexis Flores.
What was the last name?
Alexis Alexis Flores. That case.
There we go. Got it.
He's got so many aliases that I don't know if we were looking at the right person or not. Even the fact that there was a long alias list. There's the bugger. Okay, now look at that guy's alias list. Doesn't he look kind of like a demented Forrest Gump?
Well, that's kind of an oxymoron.
Okay, so some kind of moron. Okay, Carlos Flores, Mario Flores, Mario Roberto Flores, Mario F. Yeah, that's the guy. Okay, so go down to what this guy did. The audience just needs to understand how horrendous this case is.
Happy birthday, old man.
Oh, hey, Chris, what's up? I'm Methuselah. So I was just telling the audience that the Guthrie case has gobbled up so much of the news that this 10 most wanted list offender got nabbed for a child sexual assault and murder case, and then fled to Honduras for 24 years. And Honduras sent him back. He's going to go on trial. And I just wanted the audience to hear about it because it was so interesting. But if you just scroll to the crime, Josh, I just want to read it with the audience because it's just so astounding. Actually, Chris is the perfect person to have here because he was an expert on crimes exactly like this.
You know this guy, Chris?
You know, I do not know him.
Well, let's put it this way. When you hear the story, he's going to sound an awful lot like a lot of people you do know.
Okay.
So Josh, go ahead and read the summary of this dirtbag. So they caught him. Now, let's just be clear. He was 24 years on the run after killing a 5-year-old. Honduras sent him back. Now he's going to be put on trial. So he's been on the run, enjoying life for almost 5 times the amount of time the child was alive.
Wow.
Okay, just to put it into context. Okay, so go ahead, read the case.
So
Murder charge.
around summer 2000, a homeless drifter, only known as Carlos or Carlo,
Right.
had been given shelter, clothing, and work as a handyman by Hunting Park, Philadelphia residents Jorge Contreras. On August 3rd, 5 days after being reported missing, the body of 5-year-old Irania, is that right? Irania
de
Jesus was found in the basement of an empty apartment building where Carlos is believed to have slayed her. She'd been sexually assaulted, strangled, and wrapped in a trash bag. A T-shirt bearing a distinct political logo was found near her, Irenia's body, with her blood on it. When police questioned Contreras about the shirt, he recognized it as one of the articles of clothing he had lent to Carlos, who had not been seen in the area since the girl was reported missing. Carlos then became wanted for questioning, and a sketch of him was profiled on America's Most Wanted.
Right. Now, you have to understand, just to put this into context. So this guy who is supposedly homeless, right? He's got a list of aliases as long as your arm, right? Sounds a little bit more like an MO to get himself into a place where a kid is living, right? But he's homeless. He gets taken in by this kind person who gives him clothes, and he uses the clothes to kill the kid.
Wow.
You understand? I mean, that's some psychopathic stuff right there. But he used the shirt that was given to him, like the sleeves of the shirt, as a ligature to kill the kid. Then he goes on the run, 24 years in Honduras. They finally find this guy after he's been on the 10 most wanted list. Now, the reason I've been long fascinated by this case, and I was thrilled to see this dirtbag get caught, is that, Chris, you and I both know there is no way this guy had one victim.
No, he's got a trail.
Exactly. So the question is, are they going to nab him for probably the whole long line of cold cases of children that this guy almost certainly assaulted and killed? And what was his MO? Did he always strangle them with clothing like that? So, it's now, Chris, don't you think that the killing with the clothing feels a little bit like a signature?
Well, yeah, and it's very personal, right? If it's given to him by the family of the victim, then obviously he is transferring that through his own, right? I mean, his aggression using the clothing that he was given as a gift, he's taking it out on this kid.
It's horrifying.
By using it as a ligature device. It is horrifying. And so, yeah, that would be something you'd want to put into VICAP.
Well,
as a clear signature type.
Well, did this happen so long ago that we don't have?
Well,
let's see what it says.
Okay, so and this is interesting too because this kind of leads us into our story.
Oh, look, Arizona. So in 2006, Flores' DNA sample taken in Arizona was added to the combined DNA index system. Mm-hmm.
In March 2007, his DNA sample positively matched DNA found at the crime scene. Chris, this is a bit what you and Cece were talking about on your show the other night as well. So at the crime scene in Philadelphia, it was determined that Carlos and Flores are the same person because he had multiple aliases.
Oh, yeah.
And on March 22nd, 2007, a local arrest warrant was issued in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and Flores was charged with murder and various other felonies. On the same day, a federal arrest warrant for Flores was issued in the Eastern District of Pennsylvania. and he was charged with unlawful flight to avoid prosecution. Flores was added to the FBI's top 10 most wanted fugitive list on June 2nd, 2007. I mean, this guy's been on the run for a long time.
But you can't escape the long arm of justice. I mean, that's the thing. It one way or another, they're going to get you. And the thing is, Chris, I mean, now that I understand that they attached him to a case in Arizona, that's probably how he got over the border. I didn't realize he was in Arizona. He probably slipped right through in that year.
Yeah, that would have been very easy too. Just walk over.
Yeah. So this guy goes right over the border and lives probably the high life for 24 years, while this family has had no closure whatsoever. And if he's been linked already twice, I'm sorry, but I would be shocked if in multiple states there aren't.
Well, it's gonna be an exercise of how CODIS works, and you can rest assured that they're testing many cold cases that are probably with him that were, proxy to his whereabouts. I mean, and that's how a lot of people think that the Nancy Guthrie case is going to get solved as well. I mean, Chris, your show with Cece, she's brilliant, man.
She's amazing,
and she's the one that's doing the Leticia Hernandez testing too. Still, right?
I hope so.
Yeah, she's terrific. Yeah.
I think about every time I think about DNA advancements, I always think about Leticia Hernandez is one of the cases that I think about because a federal judge really screwed the pooch on that one.
Tell everybody, Judge.
Well, yeah. Well, so in the Leticia Hernandez case, they had a suspect, and he was being brought before a judge, a federal judge. The FBI got involved, and he had an arraignment, I believe it was, and the judge, for some reason, threw out the DNA, said they couldn't use it as evidence, which really hurt the case in general. This is what it was going to be used against him. It can't be used against him now. It has to be done a different way, apparently. And so now the federal judge who sided with this criminal who was basically a neighbor, correct, Chris? A neighbor of Leticia.
3 doors down, registered sex offender.
And they threw out the DNA that they had, or the judge wouldn't allow it for some reason. Well, it wasn't even a good. I think that he said it was maybe a violation of his rights, but when I looked at it, it certainly didn't seem like that. And the type of DNA that was let into that case had been used many other times on many other cases. And for some reason, this judge did not allow it in. And
this was early. Remember, this was early DNA days.
Yeah, and it's been justice delayed for a really long time because of this. I still, to this day, don't understand. But as so I know that you guys keep testing, for this DNA. And hopefully you can get the DNA that's necessary to prosecute this guy, because I believe he's still around.
But that's why I wanted to talk about this story for a minute, Josh, because it's a reminder that with the science the way that it is now, it's really hard to get away with this stuff. It's just a matter of time for a lot of this stuff, and somebody taking the time to see it through to the end. I mean, that's why Chris and I, we love being part of the Cold Case Foundation,
right?
Because we're part of this group that sort of doesn't rest until, things are seen through. And,
well, they absolutely gave this guy a gift that he didn't deserve, and they were for some reason they were very concerned about this registered sex offender's rights, and not so much about Leticia Hernandez's rights or justice. And it's always been something that has always bothered me, and I know, Chris, how much it bothered you, because I think that was your first homicide case, wasn't it?
Correct. First one I ever worked.
And I'm sure that it sits with you to this day. We talk about it still. We still talk about Leticia all the time.
And what's interesting about it, it morphed. So I was a dog handler at the it was towards the end of my dog handler days. So it was December 16th, 1989, and I was called out to do a search for her on a scent search from her front yard. She was kidnapped out of her front yard. And next thing you know, my dog passed away after, a month or two after that or thereabouts. Irk the jerk. And my boss said, hey, there's an opening in the bureau. Would you be interested in applying for it? And I was like, well, I kind of like dogs. Go figure. My wife likes me for the same reason. And, and she's like, or he's like, well, you should put in for it because, who knows? Long story short, me and about 5 other people put in for one open position, and I got the job. And the first thing they did was, well, you're already familiar with the case because you were there from the very first night. So you work with this guy. And back then it was a guy by the name of Danny Aarons. And Danny's going to be your, go-to, your shadow, basically. And so I worked that case for a whole year. And then ultimately, when all this stuff went down, the lead case agent at that time was Sheila Hancock and an FBI agent by the name of Mike Popkinjack. Mike and Sheila, took it to the grand jury. They got the grand jury to buy off. And then, of course, it went to this judge. And in the interim, we had found her body. A citizen found, parts of her remains. And I managed the search for the rest of that crime scene. And I found her undergarments and I found her shorts in a tree. As the suspect drove by, he just discarded them out the car window. And then, of course, I ended up getting the case after Sheila left and Mike left. I ended up getting assigned as the case agent and have, see this file right here? This one right over there, that red one?
Yep.
That's Leticia Hernandez sitting. And so that's a copy. Obviously, I don't have the originals. They're all in evidence, but I still have this caper up here. And yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully, like you said, I know that it gets tested.
I wrote a song for her.
Yes, you did. It still gets. You did, and it still gets. We still talk about it, and we still bring it up. And I reviewed that case. It's one of the more frustrating cases, to be honest with you. But hopefully, I mean, it's one of those things where who did it, you just can't prove it yet. It's not what it's what you can prove, unfortunately. And so we're all very
back then it was kind of crazy because my boss came to me and he goes, because I got assigned to all the leads where there were sightings of her going across the country. And I came up with an idea of, I'll just write a song and I'll see if I can get the local radio stations to play it. And if she's alive, she'll hear it. And it was kind of just a off the wall idea. Anyway, it took off and I turned all, we, not me, but the department opened up a reward fund. And if people wanted the song, they could buy a cassette tape and all the monies went towards that reward fund. And that then it just kind of embryoed from there where it started the largest and oldest child safety program still going today with the Major League Baseball is the major sponsor it's called The Greatest Save. and Kindervision.
Hmm.
And if you go back and you look at some of the old, if you really want to bore your audience, Josh, I think you could go to YouTube and type in Kindervision or whatever it is, and some of the old videos are.
Dude, it's right here, Chris.
Yeah, so I did safety tips for children, and I was on at that time, believe it or not, over 10 million Warner videos where there were cartoons, the Scooby-Doo cartoons.
Yeah, it was played on Saturday morning for
all the kids.
For all the kids, yeah.
And I was would come out. There's one right there. And at the end, see the Kindervision, Turner Home Entertainment, and at every Saturday afternoon, these little tips would come up, and my son, who passed away, is actually in these videos.
Yeah,
Kindervision appreciates the opportunity to provide you with this valuable information.
Hello, I'm Police Detective Chris McDonough. Kindervision has asked me to.
If that doesn't scare you, I don't know what would. The mustaches were mandatory.
Absolute unit.
Provide you and your parents with the following information.
This is how long I've been
Teach your
studying
children
these guys.
I know. This was going on when I was like tiny.
Oh, and it was the craziest thing because at Halloween, true story, I had a little guy come to the front door, and the bell rang. I opened the door, and he's just stuck there on the porch with his dad. And I'm like, "Are you okay?" And he goes to his dad. He goes, "It's him. It's him. He's on Scooby-Doo. It's Scooby-Doo." He kept calling me Scooby-Doo. I'm like, "What?" But you'll see Rhino. You'll see
walking with other children. Don't let your children play or walk alone. Remember, there is safety in numbers.
Let's see a little
the buddy system has been proven to work.
That's
young children should hold hands when in a crowd.
Yep.
Children, you should always stay together and don't allow anyone to separate you from your
It was
friends or
God's
your group to an isolation.
putting me on a path.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Gary, now you understand me even further, but I don't go around telling people about this stuff.
Teach your children to tell you if they are approached by anyone. Parents, believe your children and report any incident to the police immediately. This could not only save your child, but someone else's.
Chris, you had a different accent.
Huh?
What happened? Your accent is different in these
What do
videos.
you mean?
You sound different. It just.
I'm older.
Well, yeah,
You sound like you're from a different part of the country. Your accent is different.
Well, I was younger. I was younger there. My parents were still alive, and I probably had that little Boston sound in me.
Protecting our most precious resource and caring for your family is a service Kindervision is proud to provide.
You're from all over.
So this right here is still the largest child safety
funding for Kindervision
program in the United States.
Wow.
Major League Baseball is I'm on the board of directors still.
Is it Raleigh?
Raleigh Fingers.
That's
Raleigh
pretty
Fingers, yeah. I remember discussing that with you. That I don't know. I don't think he sounds that much different.
He does to me.
Does he? I don't think he does. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
Forget about it.
forget about it.
My accent. Don't even get me started on mine.
Anyway, that's Kindervision and the greatest name. Yeah.
That's
Well,
awesome.
and it was right after, that, my boss was, during all of that stuff, that's when we also had in San Diego County, we had, I think 5 or 6 little kids that were killed. We had, I think the Sellers boys, they were murdered. If you look them up, you'll see it was in, I think Imperial Beach, IB. And it was just craziness back then. And that's when my boss came to me in the office and he goes, well, guess where you're going? And that's how I ended up. It was like full circle from my oldest son now today on the big wheel and that story
Yeah.
Right.
to Kindervision to, it was just like all these lanes just said, hey, you're supposed to protect children. That's what you're supposed to do. Okay. I can't get a spot at CrimeCon to talk about it, but go figure. But that it was just like, that was my life. And I, again, I attribute that to God keeping his agreement with me, because I made a deal with him. I said, if you give me the opportunity, I will commit the rest of my life to hunting down these guys that do this. And it was like all this other stuff that just started opening up. I mean, it was 93, the internet showed up, and next thing you know, I'm chasing down, ladies of the evening and asking them about, so how are the Johns out here working? And, and they're like, well, they're more violent. And that's when I started connecting those dots of, which I came to create the theory of, the intellect white collar predator, who would be fueled by, the internet, and he would be intellectual. And this was 1993 to 1995 when that started to unfold. And Chris Hansen came around with To Catch a Predator. And next thing you know it, they're blasting these guys all around the world coming
Chris
in.
Hansen, friend of this show, The Lab, he's been on here before.
Awesome.
The Predator missile. That's what I called him.
Yeah. Brain surgeons, lawyers, doctors, everybody started coming for hundreds of miles.
Chris, if you look at all these hotshot intellectuals and world leaders and whatever that are stepping down because they've been implicated by the Epstein files, I mean, it just goes to show you that there are people, that are caught up in this kind of stuff that are everywhere. I mean, some of these people were like heads of colleges and universities, and
it's bad. I mean, and that was my predictive analysis. I said you were going to see an uptick. This was 1993. Think about that. That video that you just saw there, I think, was 1991. Okay, it was a long time ago. Okay, that's how long I've been doing this with catching predators. I did it before Chris Hansen was ever a thing.
That's true.
Okay.
I about 3 or 4 months ago talked with him about covering the Summer Wells case on his True Blue network.
Good.
And I would there would be nothing. I would love nothing more than for him to pull up in Beach Creek with a camera crew and start banging on doors.
Could you see Don?
Dude, I mean, it would be
a guy would poop his pants.
He's very interested in the case. He's been interested in the case. I've talked to him several times about it. And now he has he has the True Blue network that he does. And so we're I want him to do it so badly. And he's a great investigative reporter. I mean, it would bring a lot of attention to the case.
Amazing. Yeah, that guy is smart, man. He's never done that now.
He told me how he got involved in true crime reporting was when he was a kid. He was obsessed with what happened to Jimmy Hoffa.
Oh, interesting.
Because he was from the area, in
Chicago.
He would ride his bike down to where the investigators would be. He was like 14 or something, and it was just so funny that I thought it was really cool. But yeah, I would love for him to be able to do that, and Summer has just she would have celebrated her 10th birthday had she been around in early February.
And you guys know me. I mean, I don't go around. It's just not my nature to go around and say, hey, look at me, by the way. I mean, I get accused of it, but that's because of the internet, right? Because of YouTube and stuff. But nobody would have known about that stuff unless I said, hey, look up Turner video. I mean, Gary didn't even know it. And Gary's not
that. I know you will. But Chris, I don't think it's that people say that about what
I'm going to celebrate your birthday eating homemade pizza too, by the way. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, nice.
That sounds like a good idea. I will imagine eating that also. But What I have found is that a lot of people imitate you but don't credit you.
You think?
I have found a lot of people flat out borrow wholesale from things that are said on your program. I think people watch it, take notes, present it as, elsewhere, as maybe they think they thought of it themselves, maybe they did, I don't know. But I'm astounded sometimes at the parroting that I hear. I
started hunting predators in 1979.
Yeah. Have you noticed that, Josh? That people?
Yeah, I've noticed it for years. I mean, Chris was on YouTube just a little bit. I think before me a little bit. I don't know about how much, but probably maybe a year or so. And then I was a fan of the Interview Room. I didn't know Chris or anything, and I was a big fan of the Interview Room, and he was, he would have, I think it was time of Steve Johnson, who also has been on this show because of Chris.
Steve's amazing.
Yeah. And I would just listen, and yeah, especially during the Summer Wells case, but even a little bit before that, when Barry Morphew and things like that. Yeah. I had noticed that a lot of people really bit the style. And I think a lot of that is because of, the professionalism of the program and the classiness of the program. I think a lot of it was, imitation, flattery because of that. But also there were people just absolutely biting his style and then trashing him at the same time. Those are the ones that are just the worst.
I think I called them, I don't ever say, I haven't said this publicly, but there are certain shows that I call Timu Interview Room.
Yeah. There's a lot of them.
Timu is that company that makes like sort of lower grade versions of things,
Yeah.
So
What hurt me the most
Timu
was there were other professional colleagues that have never met me. They didn't know anything they still don't know anything about me because they've never, ever asked or come to realize. And they trash me. And, most of that's from people back east, who don't know how the people in the West, worked. And we didn't know how they worked, and they didn't know how I worked. But I never trash another real deal cop. I don't do it. Now, I will call them out if I think they're in left field, and that's fair game. Because
I'll do the trashing. You leave that to me.
And well, that's okay. I mean, and then there are other people that, stolen valor, for lack of a better term.
No question.
I can't play that game. And, I separate it from people that I vetted, and I got blamed for it, and I still get blamed for it even today. Okay. Which is fine. Okay. I'm not losing any sleep over it, but the truth will come out one day, and the truth will set you free. And when it does fall, when the tree falls, it will be heard in the forest. Okay. It won't be one of those things because, just look at that simple thing that you just found on the internet 30 seconds ago. Somebody said to me a long time ago, they go, you have on your resume, you were involved in the West Memphis 3. Josh, was I involved in the West Memphis 3?
You were involved in the West Memphis 3, and I was actually aware of you because that was a case that I covered ad nauseum for a long time.
And we'd never met, right?
Never met before. I knew that you had interviewed, I believe it was an ice cream man from California, and he was a suspect in the case, and you were the one that interviewed him.
Christopher Morgan and
Yep.
his sidekick.
Yes.
And I spent like 6 hours with him, and it's all on YouTube. I didn't even know it was on YouTube till somebody told me. They typed in Detective Chris McDonough and Christopher Morgan, and somebody had uploaded an old videotape interview that I did with that guy.
Uh-huh.
And then they were like, well, you know, you on your resume, you said you were involved with Leticia Hernandez, or excuse me, John Benet Ramsey. I said, okay, well, why don't you Google, just Google it. Detective McDonough, Oceanside, PE, John Benet Ramsey, see what comes up. And then all of a sudden an LA Times article came up and they were like, oh crap. Okay. Yeah. Guess what? I did that too. With Lou Schmidt long time ago in 1997, actually. And, these are the kind of things where I didn't ask for any of this. And you just you go, okay, it'll show itself.
Well, and also it's kind of cool though how you guys and you, Dr. Gary, as well. You guys have kind of parlayed this into the Cold Case Foundation after all the years of your guys' experience, because all you guys have worked on high profile cases and really continue to. Also, in this case, in the Nancy Guthrie case, you guys are really, if you ask me, really leading the way on YouTube, especially with a lot of the coverage, because you can pretty much get any guest that you want. People want to come on your show. They respect your show, and and obviously, Dr. Gary, you're a huge part of the interview room as well, and you have been a frequent guest on there and a great contributor to that show, my show as well. And this people are.
Gary's amazing.
Yeah, he's.
Let's just call it the way it is. Zim's all a bim.
Well, I tell people that it's probably
his birthday. Look at, he's eating his little candies over there.
I don't have.
Well, I think I've told people this before. You're probably one of the smartest people that I've ever met, and that's the truth. I mean, your knowledge is vast of just a lot of things. You have knowledge of.
I don't want to oversaturate him. That's my problem. I would have him on 6 days a week, but I'll oversaturate him. So I give him some breathing room to come over here, think outside of the box, and it helps him. And tell me if I'm wrong, Gary, but I've seen you think of different things over on my channel, and then over here you're thinking different ways, and now you're having a birthday. By the way, how many dog years are you?
We were talking about that. I have it calculated in dog years. That's
370 something. I think.
Right, exactly.
That's old.
I should just be taken out.
I'm teasing. I love you.
No, but it's interesting. I remember, you gave me a flashback, Josh, to how I got invited to join the foundation. I was very proud because Chris and I are also members of a group called Super Sleuths, which, Ann Burgess, who I work with at Boston College, Sarah Collane, I think her name is, or not, I know who she is. I mean, I think is the founder or one of the co-founders is what I meant to say, with an Ann and so forth, oversee it. And so I was sitting in there in the Zoom, and Super Sleuths is about getting a bunch of experts together to talk about unsolved cases, potentially offer help. And I got a random private message from Greg Cooper, who
the legend.
Yeah, I mean, Greg Cooper, was a former head of behavioral science, one of the earliest crops of profilers. And when you get a message from Greg Cooper saying, we see a lot in you, we think you've got talent, we would like you to join the foundation, believe me, you're proud of yourself in that moment. And because there is this kind of it's a recruiting process where they have to go out and find people that they think really, and what I've learned also, co-writing the book with everybody from the foundation, which I work on every day. One of the things I learned is that very integral to the philosophy of the foundation is the idea that there's really no lone ranger figure that comes in and kind of goes like, I solved it. Right. But that you have to also have the quality of being a team player. because
Absolutely.
there are no egos in the foundation. There cannot be,
Right.
you know.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying, Chris? And that's the thing I like the most about it. There's
The
no
Mayo Clinic approach.
the Mayo Clinic approach, and I love that because you know, it's like there are no, you know, you could, if so cases have been asked to participate in discussing, which are always fascinating.
Well, look,
You know, you can contribute openly and comfortably, and know that everybody's got different ideas, and somehow one way or another we're going to get to where we've got to go.
I had a
Brilliant.
well, the thing was, you know, in with both of you, with Chris, you know, when the way that Chris and I actually met up was your channel was unfairly taken down, and
Oh.
I was a
They
fan.
trolled me.
Yeah, so it was like a mass. Like they've changed it a bit since then, so it doesn't happen like that anymore. And so you temporarily, you know, and I was furious. I didn't even know Chris then. I was just furious about it because I was a fan of the show. And I go, do you know? I remember going on and I said, you know how many friggin' dirtbags are on this platform, and you got a family show here that you know, doesn't swear, doesn't do anything. They just talk about cases and help people, and they get taken down. I was furious. And then I invited you on to talk about, and you were so calm about it. You're like, well, look, you know, this thing. And I remember I woke up one morning, I got a message from Dylan. He says, "We're back, baby." And I was so excited. And because they did the right thing, because it was wrong what they did. And ever since then, you know, Chris and I had been friends, but I was very loud about it. I was very pissed off, and people were like, "You can't have him on your show because he got banned." And I said, "I don't care. I don't care." You know, that, by the way, that was false anyway. It was just a bunch of psychos, you know, that didn't like us. And
then they started lying about me.
Started lying about you, and just
I saw true colors of a lot of people that came out right after that. You know, oh well, he should have known better. You know, and here was the point, that because it happened right while I was in a live stream, and I was questioning whether or not somebody was texting for the kid. What was his name in the
laundry?
Who?
Laundry.
Yeah, in the laundry. So my question, I was right in the middle of this live stream, and I had a PowerPoint. I still have the PowerPoint. And I said, is it possible that somebody could be, you know, texting on behalf of Brian Laundrie? And could it be Brian Laundrie in of itself? You know, himself, could they be connected? That was the question. Next thing you know, boom, it was off. I was over. And I was like, what the heck just happened? And Dylan's like, Dad, what just happened? Because he was, you know, he was producing it in the background. Yeah. I said, I have no idea, dude. You know, but we aren't on the internet right now. So, you know, we'll figure it out tomorrow. Let's go to bed.
I was watching. I was so mad. I was so upset about it because there were just a lot of people that I was like, look, if there's a lot of people that should be taken off the platform, and I don't champion for that with anybody, because I don't care that much. You know, I just try and do my own thing, and you know, whatever happens is what it is. But I don't, for the life of me, I was just like, if anybody, this is wrong, you know, on every level. I was very upset about it because I loved the show. I didn't even know who you were. I knew who you were from the interview room, and I knew some of the cases that you had worked on before that. But other than that, I mean, we weren't friends like we are now. I mean, we're friends, you know, and we've been friends
5 years.
5 years.
And that's where it was interesting. That's where I say, you know, colleagues, who at least I thought they were colleagues at the time, they all turned on me.
Yes, but you know what? There was also a groundswell on Twitter of people that went to YouTube, and there's people in the chat right now saying that.
I know. I cannot thank you guys enough.
Gary, they blew Twitter up, or they blew the YouTube Twitter handle up and said, "What are you guys doing? This is crazy. you're taking down one of the best shows on in true
Yeah.
crime.
Exactly.
And people were, you know, and there's, like I said, there's still a lot of people in the chat that remember this. They absolutely went to bat for you.
Imagine being 6 months on YouTube or thereabouts.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden getting just blasted. And it's like, what did I just do? What happened? What rule did I break?
Well, I find that the true crime field is a minefield. You traipse into it, and you just sort of have to expect that there are going to be some very well-meaning people, and then there are some people that are better at it than others, have more experience than others, and then there are some people that are actually malicious. And there have been people that have looked me right in the eye and told me things that were not true. You know, and I'm sitting here going like, you know what I do for a living, right?
Right.
Like, you know, I could tell you full of crap, right? And but that's an amazing thing. I mean, Chris, you've had that happen, right? Where like somebody forgets for a moment that like it's your job to figure people out and they're lying. You know, it just cracks me up. You know.
Yeah, I put a Rumble thing up so nobody could take it down. It's still over there.
Yeah, I remember that.
On all the trolls that
whole thing.
came after me. And you know, rule number one, to your point, Gary, don't screw with a guy who's put people on death row. Number one. Okay. That should be the first potato chip in the bag that when you take it out, you're going to realize it's the hottest one they've ever made. And so I thought, okay, that's fine. I'll play the game. So I did it over on Rumble. And if you guys ever want to see this stuff, go over to my early Rumble stuff.
Oh, God, it was
it's hysterical.
Oh my
so
God.
and that was, you know, Chris and I would, you know, Dr. Gary, Chris and I, we would have these conversations because you know, by proxy, when I became friends with Chris, look, Chris really changed my trajectory. Like I had a following on YouTube before I had met Chris. I had a following. I had a podcast before this, and I had a following on YouTube. But obviously, you know, meeting Chris and getting involved with, you know, even you and you know, I've had Steve on the show and many other, John Lamb, and you know, we did a season of the Witness Box. We've you know, we had so many awesome guests, and I've met so many people, and it's really changed my life in a lot of ways.
Exhausted listening to this.
Yeah, it's
exhausted thinking about all that we've done.
It's changed my life in a lot of ways. You know, to be honest with you, both of you guys have been contributed to that in ways
that's wonderful
that I will forever be grateful for. But like I said, I was just a fan. You know, I was a fan. I was a fan when I watched you. I knew Chris, but I didn't know you, and I would watch you, and I was a fan of yours as well. And then we became friends. And yeah, you look back on all the stuff that we've done, and we've done a lot. We've been through a lot.
But the point is that when you realize who is safe in the minefield, you stick with them.
Of course.
You see what I'm saying? But now I have to tell you, I am fascinated by people that lie and don't realize that, you know, they're lying. These people amaze me. And I will never stop a person you know, who's fibbing to me because I'm studying them. I'm watching everything about them. And sometimes the lies are such whoppers that, you know, it's hard to keep a straight face. You know, Chris, you know what I'm talking about, where they just make it right up. I knew a guy that lied. Was so much of a pathological liar. He would say things that were outlandish, you know, like, oh, I'm sorry, I have this white stripe in my hair today. I'm on the Olympic swimming team. You know, this is from the chlorine in the pool. Oh, okay. Yeah. You know, that kind of thing. Like, just make stuff up. One time, I remember, I still can't think about it without laughing. He had me trapped somewhere, because that's always how it is. And he was telling me about the time that he went on a blind date, and it was Anna Nicole Smith, and he turned her down. So he's telling me this story with this ridiculous accent. This guy, he was from like Bensonhurst or something. And he's going, yes, I open the door. It's this blonde broad. Her name's Anna Nicole something or other. I think she was like famous. I says to her, get out of here. Go home. Take your drugs. I'm not interested in you. I don't even think you're pretty. Get out of here. You know, and I'm sitting there going, yeah, I'm sure this. I'll take things that never happened for 1,000, Alex. I mean, nonsense. And I think stuff like that's fascinating because ultimately, as I've said elsewhere, I think that it has to do with lacking empathy. Because if we were telling somebody a nonsense story, we would feel that they could tell we're lying. It's an empathy problem. If you can't read that, you're in la la land somewhere, in fantasy land somewhere. So I mean, I think the most dangerous thing is I mean, it sounds like a oxymoron, but a good liar is an extremely dangerous person. The sloppy, foolish ones, I mean, they give you, but Chris, you know what I'm talking about, right? The ones who tell you the stupidest possible story, like I was out stargazing.
Well,
I was stargazing.
Film at 11.
The cheese was in the house, I don't know how it got there. I guess Amazon delivered it. I was out in the park.
Well, speaking of stargazing,
I'm an FBI profiler.
let me, Dr. Gary, you left a comment in the chat last night. I was doing a show and I was talking about if I thought that the Nancy Guthrie case was getting cold or not. And you said that you didn't think that it was getting cold. Can you explain that a little bit?
Okay, you want to transition to Guthrie? I think the audience is getting hungry for our ideas about it.
Probably.
Well, we're sitting here eating. Sorry, Josh.
Well,
I don't care.
Listen, it's our birthday tea party here, Look, I think part of the problem is, and this is a analogy I've made in a few places now, Court TV, Chris's show, is that the way I conceptualize this case is that I think you have to picture two things. There's like the waiter who's delivering the food, who is like the guy at the door on the video. And then there's the cook in the kitchen that you don't see. Okay.
Let me just stop really fast because I was listening. Chris was giving this on the interview room, and then all of a sudden his guest stands up and goes, I gotta go potty break, gets up and leaves. Like, I thought that was part of the story or the analogy.
Oh, no. And I've heard now there are variations on my waiter hypothesis, my waiter theory, because I've heard people use other terms like the architect and the other, which is fine. I mean, because I think people think alike, right? But the idea is ultimately, and Chris, I think you'd agree.
Yep.
There's that kind of figure, and then there's the one who executes the plan, right? Or more than one. And the reason this is relevant to the question of whether it's cold is I think you have to think of it as a matter that has two sides to it, where one side is working the who actually carries this out thing, right? And leaves DNA and is doing the stupid thing on the camera with the plant and all this other nonsense. And then why'd they do it? Who hired them or entered into some kind of arrangement with them? And what was their motive? Whoever actually carries this out seems much more practical, money related, whatever. They weren't particularly professional. Everyone says, what an idiot. He looks like he's stoned. He look like, yeah, but there's someone more clever and more devious in the kitchen. Because you do not look at that guy on the camera and think, yeah, that guy came up with this scheme and got away with this for a month. No way. That guy couldn't get out of a paper bag.
So you think that there's a facilitator, and this guy was sort of like the ground troop?
Absolutely. And this is what I also think. And Chris, you tell me, how you're feeling about this at this point. I also think when you commit a crime that is simply pragmatic, I want money. You have a plan, you carry it out, and there's nothing extra. Nothing unnecessary will happen. You want the lowest possible risk. You're in and out. You take the victim. You've planned it very well. You do not have a person who is bleeding, whose medicine is not taken, who potentially, their pacemaker has become disconnected from the Bluetooth, whatever that implies. I mean, I don't even want to think about it. So the idea is she was not treated as precious cargo like you would treat someone that you were kidnapping. In an abduction, you'd be looking at 24 to 48 hours until you hear from the person with proof of life. You get the money. It's over in a week. You're out. this doesn't look like that. This person stayed a while. There's a kind of cruel, sadistic quality to this. There's no proof of life at all. That, you know, this looks like something where somebody with a certain personality or grievance is behind it, behind the curtain, masquerading through the puppet, right? Through who actually carries it out. So what I think is the combination of factors and the different psychologies is throwing people off and creating a complicated story. So my theory is that they're probably hoping, now Chris, you tell me what you think about this, but I think they're hoping that if that reward gets jacked up high enough, that one of these underlings or the underling who just carried this out for money will turn someone in, or someone who knows them will. And then the thread, the spider web will lead to the spider. See? And that character, whoever that character is, I am convinced knew her and saw her as an impediment in some way, had some kind of resentment, and felt that, you know, there would have been a clever way to make some money here. Now, the other thing I am not convinced of is that this was a true abduction. I think it was either an abduction where there was a financial goal and she may have died, and they tried to, you know, they figured let's try anyway to get the money, or it could have been that it was just a homicide where it's being made to look like an abduction to take everybody's eyes off the ball and have people running around looking for somebody that's already being kind of ferreted away somewhere, right? But I think it's something more like that. And the center of this is not that imbecile at the door with the plant. It's a much more devious, scheming character. Now, Chris, what do you think about what I'm saying?
I'm tracking you 1,000%.
That's what I think is going on. And I won't name a name, I mean, because I think it's outrageous to do that. But I do think whoever it is in some way knew this poor woman, had encountered her, I think was even nice to her. I'll help you, I'll help you out, take my arm, let me take your cane for you. Oh, how are you? Whatever. Whoever this is knew her habits, had some, sort of personal grievance and needed money.
So you think, we're hypothesizing here, but so the person that's on the camera is not the mastermind.
No.
The mastermind, please. No, the person who did it is like, I'm telling you, is like the bad waiter. He didn't do an especially good job, did he?
No.
He didn't seem to have very good intel, right?
Didn't seem like it.
I mean, how many professional crooks do you know would use a piece of foliage to try to cover a security camera? Who would wear a gun like that where you could potentially shoot yourself in the crotch?
After potentially being there, even previously standing, if that second picture is legit and they get the timestamp on that, the only thing that's leaning me towards it could be legit as an earlier casing situation is the background. Remember when we were talking about it, Gary, on our panel?
Oh, yeah.
And Joe,
I love that.
The question was, okay, what's everybody seeing here? Everybody had the same opinion that the background, it's pitch black behind the suspect out there. He didn't have the gun. He didn't have the backpack on that one picture. Do you have those pictures, Josh? Maybe we can,
they're like burned into my brain.
we can pull them up here for a second. But so the question was for me, it's like, okay, well, first of all, who comes to the house and does a photo op, with his Ralph Cramden gear on that?
That's what I keep saying. He looks like the man from space from the honeymoon.
Right. And so thinking about that analogy that Gary, has put on this guy, the idea is, okay, Yeah, look at the two pictures here. So the one on the left is clearly, much brighter than the one on the right in terms of the background. Even the one on the left, you can see the tree line, even, or the outlines of the trees going further back, right? So if your eye goes back behind this guy, you can see that the moon is lighting it up. And so when he comes onto the porch, you can also see in the video, the moon is backlit, and you can see a shadow, on the ground. Well, that was the highest. It was called a snow moon that month, and that day. So the second one here now on the right, if we look over, and look how much darker it is behind this person. And he doesn't have the gun. He has the similar jacket, the gloves, the hat, or the face covering, etc. He may or may not have something around his neck there. You can't really tell, but you see something kind of illuminating out to the right. But why would this guy come on the one on the right? Why would this person show up there and just kind of, is he a helper? Is he another waiter, as Gary, his analogy? Who is this guy?
I think it's a reasonable analogy.
Yeah. And so, and then the bigger question is this a separate night? And if so, they're, to Gary's point, they're not the sharpest tool in the shed if they come back and didn't even realize that camera was there. And I'm not buying that. I think they knew the camera was there. I think they purposely smashed it. I won't be surprised if there's more cameras in the house that they destroyed. So that shows firsthand knowledge. A random burglar just doesn't case a house like this and then go inside and say, "Oh, look, here's another camera. I'll destroy that one real fast because I see it, I found it, etc." It just, I don't know, it's just not lining up. So for me, that was leaning more towards this individual is extremely, extremely comfortable.
Oh, yes.
With this environment. They know the environment. They know the house, whoever this person is. Okay. And they're very comfortable coming back and forth if, in fact, these are two separate days. And they're not worried about getting caught. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
They're not worried about getting caught. And then when you think about how much time did it take to double glove up like that for a moment?
Yeah.
Right.
How do you handle a firearm with those gloves on?
Right. And to think through that, how much thought did they put into, okay, I need to, wear my mask. I need to put my gloves on. I need to, make my jacket look really puffy. I may have 2 pair of pants on here, for a quick change. If I'm fleeing, I can take my pants off, throw them in my backpack. I can take my jacket off and basically go through an entire wardrobe change, and that maybe that's where the gloves, where he's driving and he decides, okay, I'm doing the wardrobe change now, just like I, watched in the movies. I see how these guys do this. Okay. Mission Impossible. Okay. I got her, or, but, and then you think about, okay, well, wait a minute. What's your target set here? Your target set is an 84-year-old disabled. Let's not forget, she's disabled woman who happens to be the mother of, a world-class celebrity in terms of media figure. Well, okay. One of the theories that I heard tonight, from Jim Fitzgerald from the FBI profiler, he was like, well, the kind of guy that we're going to be looking for is going to be, have all of these post-incident behaviors, et cetera. And, he's going to you know, you got to go watch Jim's. He actually did a great one on his channel. But at the same time, it's like, I think we're reading way too much into this guy. And I keep coming back to Gary's analogy of the waiter and the chef. Okay. It's like, you know, I don't know. This guy's not very complicated. Believe it or not, in my mind, this is not a complicated case. It isn't. Okay? We're all trying to figure out the how, and we're not asking. Again, we go back to this principle of the why here. Okay, why do these? Because the 84-year-old woman's just like a child. Why do guys take children? You know, and you know, as Jim said tonight, you know, the older the victim, typically the younger the offender. Right? That's what he had mentioned tonight. But why is this guy taking all this time to go through all of these things, the car, the clothing, the gun? What is this all about? And to be honest with you, it's not complicated. Because as Gary has said, this guy's a bug. Right?
Yeah.
You know, he's not the sharpest tool in the shed, evident of the fact that he reaches down, and what's his method to cover the camera? You know, well, I'll just look around for something. Well, why didn't he just pick up a rock and smash the camera? You know, well, that would have been the easy part.
Oh, maybe he didn't want to make a ruckus.
Or maybe, right, is this a staging scenario where, well, if I do that, right, to your point,
the crime could have already been, you know, committed, I guess you could say, you know, taken out of the house possibly, or this could be after the fact. He could be the cleanup crew, I guess you could say.
Well, an example of why distinguishing between the waiter and the chef is so important, I think, can easily be seen in the murders of Sharon Tate and the other people at her house, and then of the LeBiancas, because for a little while there, the authorities out there in California had no idea what the heck had happened there. It could have been anything from a bunch of people on drugs who just randomly did this to some sort of ritualistic thing or whatever. At one point, Susan Atkins was taking, you know, was seen as center stage. Next thing you know, when they finally figure out who the mastermind is, you've got this diminutive wannabe Jesus who's convinced all these people by, you know, getting them cracked up on LSD that a race war was going to be started and the Beatles were giving messages through the Bible and this, that, and the other thing, all this other nonsense that he supposedly believed, but wink, he didn't. You know, and the idea is that you wound up with a guy who was sort of like committing mass murders by proxy, or at least multiple person murders by proxy, one mass murder and one double homicide by proxy. And it's a good example of how, you know, you've got to wonder sometimes, is there someone else behind the story, right? Now, obviously, this is not a Manson style situation, but I'm just illustrating the point that you never quite know what you're dealing with sometimes when you're dealing with a mastermind type. Whoever really is, you know, responsible for this did their homework for a little while. I think we're going to discover that they learned a lot from other offenders. They studied them, they were interested in them, and they think they're smarter than them. And I think that type of person thinks to themselves, what do I care if this Potts gets in trouble? Now, the good news is that these people, or this person, probably motivated by money. They were willing for money to potentially go to jail forever. So money probably make the same person or persons rat on someone, especially if they were given a plea deal. an arrangement, something like that. So that's why I think there's a focus on finding this person or people, because they'll say to them, Chris, you know how it goes. They'll make a deal.
Yeah.
Let's make a deal.
And
give up the rat. Right.
And we could, right? I mean, we could all be. It won't surprise me if we were wrong as well. Okay, there's always that possibility. We could be wrong, but when you think about the logic sequence here, and just we just think critically. And I made a comment tonight about my generation. Do you realize my generation was the last generation before technology? And so if you think about that, that's kind of a deep statement, because technology really didn't hit the world until 1993. Okay, so by then, I'd already been a cop, almost 12 years at that point, right?
Mm.
And so this idea of, you mean we've got negative blood at the homicide scene? Yeah. All right. Let's get this guy. Okay.
Mm.
And so you had to go, okay, well, you had to critically think outside of the box, throw stuff up on the wall, just do all the things that we do here in conversations that, and I love your chat and my chat. And, when everybody's just throwing ideas out, it doesn't mean they're right. And we're not accusing people. We're just saying, you know what, that doesn't sound right, or it doesn't look right. It's kind of like when your kid, stole their first Reese's peanut butter cup at the Target, and you're walking out with them. And next thing you know, he pulls the Reese's peanut butter cup out of his pocket, and you go, whoa. What are you eating? Huh? Yeah. That thing right there in your hand, that's all over your face now. Where'd you get that? It's that moment where you go, that doesn't look right. And so if we look at this case that simplistically, okay, it's not complicated. The guy needed a car. Okay, so let's look for a car. Okay. The guy knew the house. Well, let's start looking for people that know the house. Okay. And you just start checking off the boxes. You just go down the list. And then you get to this one thought process where you go, hey, wait a minute. You mean to tell me there's some guy in Los Angeles? And we've talked about this on every channel so far that I can, because it's such an anomaly. It's such a crazy concept that some dude out of the blue would interject himself into the Nancy Guthrie abduction case. And what's his excuse? Well, I thought I was going to get some Bitcoin. Okay, let's run with that for a little while, Mr. Bitcoin guy in Los Angeles. So let me get this right. You decide to send 2 text messages to the sister and the brother-in-law. Yeah. Okay. How'd you get their info? Oh, I just did a Google search, and I got it off of Ben Verified or whatever the websites are going to be. Okay, that's fine. Not complicated. Yeah, you can do that. And you used a burner phone. Yeah. Connected to your real phone. Yeah. Wow. You're pretty smart. Okay. You are absolutely a genius here. Okay. And then you go, well, whose phones did you connect with? And now, mind you, I can understand the sister. I get that.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I agree with that as well.
I can understand if it was Savannah. Now, she's a little tougher because obviously celebrity profile, she's going to have a lot more guardrails around her. Okay. The brother. Okay. These are the three people that are on at that time. Remember, the very beginning of this thing, they're looking at the world, reading a letter to the suspects. We got your message, we want you to know, that we're listening. Please give us proof of life about our mom. Okay. And next thing you know, at Home Fries in Hawthorne, California, decides, you know what, I'm going to get me some of that Bitcoin. Okay. But you know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to talk to Savannah. I'm not going to talk to the brother. I'm going to talk to Tommaso. Take the sister out of it. I'm going to talk to Tommaso and ask him for the Bitcoin. Now, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. Let's just admit that piece of the puzzle. Okay? I mean, I have fallen off a lot of turnip trucks and hit my head a whole bunch. And when I was born, you guys know, they slapped my mother. However, you get this question in a text message and you're Tommaso, who, by the way, has zero camera time out front. I'm asking for Bitcoin, messaging back to the suspect. And all of a sudden you get a text message and it's a question. Did you get the Bitcoin? We're waiting at our end for the transaction. Now, I don't know about you, but you're reading this and going, oh man, I just got an email or a text message about a Bitcoin transaction. Diddling. Hey, it's the same guy calling you for 9 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, here would be a natural response. So, did this guy call you? Yeah, he called me. What did you say? What do you mean? Did you say, who is this? Did you say, why are you calling my phone and asking for Bitcoin? So the FBI can trace you to Hawthorne, California, and you're using your burner phone connected to your actual phone and your IP address, and you just happen to find my phone number on Ben Verified? I don't know about you, but I find that rather suspicious. I'm not saying it's legit. I'm not saying I'm right. I could be 1,000% wrong, which I have been many times. Just ask my wife and my children.
Well, so that's sort of what I was thinking, because when you said that you could see the children being contacted to, for them to be, extorted or whatever it is that you want to call it, I could understand that. How they would get him involved, I don't know. I just, and why would you call him of all people?
Well, look.
Well, I don't know if they call him, but why would you even message him?
Well, in fairness, and we have to be very careful here that we're not casting any aspersions, but in fairness, if you read what's in the affidavit, if that is truly the extent of the message, it's actually an interpretation that it is referencing the abduction of Nancy Guthrie and that there's a demand for ransom. Another interpretation is we've previously had a discussion about some money that's going to be transferred. You're sending it?
Good point.
Okay, so that another interpretation is you owe us money. Or where's our share of the money? Or are you going to pay us in advance for what we've been asked to do? Or are you going to pay us for what we did? And where the idea came from that the interpretation is, it's a request for ransom, I have no idea. I think it's an interpretation. But I think that, it would be useful, for example, if you pull the affidavit up, you'll see that if that's truly the extent of it, I think one could interpret it a few ways. But I refuse to cast any aspersion because you're talking about cleared people. But it is interesting. Now,
Do you have the affidavit, Josh?
Yeah, I'm bringing it up.
It's interesting because my understanding is that's the whole thing. That's the whole extent of the messaging, right? What's in that affidavit? I want to see that. Pull it up and you tell me where it clearly says, we've got your mother-in-law. Right. Send the money. Where does it say that? Why is it being interpreted?
Well, and this is where I have also. I'm gonna keep skiing down that hill with you, okay? But I'm gonna put a helmet on because I know how dangerous you are. Okay, in case I hit a tree. So here we go. Here we go on your birthday.
I got a special room for you, Chris.
I know you do, with a jacket. Here, try this jacket on. Oh, this thing's a little tight, Gary. Let's see here.
Like Houdini, Chris.
So here we go.
I can't.
It's your birthday. For now on, when I see you, I'm going to do this. What the heck is Gary thinking?
Damien Karras.
How did he get me in this room?
No.
Okay. So
special Chris room.
Yeah, special. Right. Yeah, Camaro, we got a special place. Oh, what's that light? It's taser darts. Let's see here. All right. I think it's the next page. Continue on page 2 to 3.
Some of the audience said we're the Three Stooges.
Oh yeah. Oh wait. Go back to that first one. I'm sorry, Josh. My bad.
Put me in this. I didn't have anything.
I'm sorry. I mean, you should see me drive.
I want to know which Stooge is which.
I'm Mo. You're Larry, and he's Curly.
Why am I Curly?
Well, you can be Mo. I'll be Curly.
I don't want to be Mo either. I'd rather be Larry.
Is this the first page? You had one job. No, this is the second page.
No, it's.
At least Larry was fine.
Oh, I didn't switch the screen. Maybe I am Curly.
All right. So count 1 is intent to transmit a demand for ransom. Did transmit in interstate or foreign commerce. Reward for the release of any kidnapped person. Okay. That's fine. Go to count 2. Did make a telephone call utilizing a device. So this guy definitely used a phone to make a call to a family member to abuse, threaten, or harass. So that tells us something right there. With intent to abuse, threaten, or harass. You better give me the money, dude, or I'm going to hurt you. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, now we can go to the next page.
There had to have been more verbiage than.
Oh, and that's why this is so. Cryptic. Okay. This is just talking about Nancy. Okay. Laying out the probable cause that she's an actual victim. Okay. Now this one. On or about February 4th, shortly after the video was published, AC and TC, the daughter and son-in-law of Nancy, both separately received a text message from the following phone number. That 760 is a Southern California number, stating, quote, "Did you get the Bitcoin? We're waiting on our end," so there's more than one, "for the transaction." AC and TC received these texts while in Arizona. So this guy in California sends this question mark. Okay. Did you get the Bitcoin? We're waiting on our end for the transaction.
There's anything even a reference to Nancy Guthrie.
Well, no, right. The only connection here is AC and TC.
Well, what I'm saying is, if that's the only verbiage, that could be referring to you owe us money.
I agree.
Pay for some service, but you have a debt to us. We lent you money and you got to pay it back. In other words, it's being linked to Nancy Guthrie, but the verbiage doesn't it suggests some previous discussion about money.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why I think it's important to just look at this. I'm not saying it's connected in terms of,
I'm sure the authorities did,
chef or whatever. Okay, but
the thing though, Chris, is that could this be that some family member possibly hypothetically owes somebody an incredible amount of money, and this is payback?
Well, this tells us that this person who's sending the message is sending it for more than one person. Because he's not saying, "Did you get the money? I'm waiting at my end for the transaction." He's talking for somebody. So he could be the waiter, another waiter.
Oh, yeah. I think it's all wait staff.
Okay. He could be somebody, that's just serving the tables.
Right.
And because now the next paragraph, Josh, right? All this is how they got him. He used a voice over IP. They trace his IP address, et cetera. Now we go into, and it gets his name, Derek, Kalala. And now we get into the next page here, number 3, this here. So they get this guy in custody and they read him his Miranda rights. And he admits to sending the 2 messages, one to her, one to the son-in-law. He admitted to using the voice over IP account from which 2 actual text messages came from. Kalala stated that he pulled family information from a cyber website and that he had been following along and watching TV. When he said he had sent text messages, he was trying to see if the family would respond. Now, let me get this right. You're watching TV, you see Savannah. Josh, can you pull up the very first Savannah plea with her letter?
Yes.
And while you're doing that, when he had sent the text message to see if they would respond. So this is what he was watching. What we're going to see here in a second. Data received shows that approximately 3 minutes after the text messages, Kalala called a family member of Nancy Grace, which lasted 9 seconds. You notice they don't tell us who that is. So
you mean the Guthrie family? You said Nancy.
Yeah, I do that too. He said Nancy Grace, but yeah, I do that too.
what did I say?
He said Nancy Grace, but
Nancy Grace. You
I'm
mean a
sorry.
family member, Savannah, right? Yeah.
Boy, that's going to drop like a hot rock here.
I've been doing that the whole time too.
Okay, so he's at home like every one of us. This comes on the news. This is a letter crafted by the Behavior Science Unit. Press play. Pretend you're him.
Our mom is our heart and our home. She is 84 years old. Her health, her heart is fragile. She lives in constant pain. She is without any medicine. She needs it to survive. She needs it not to suffer. We too have heard the reports about a ransom letter in the media. As a family, we are doing everything that we can. We are ready to talk. However, we live in a world where voices and images are easily manipulated. We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her. We want to hear from you, and we are ready to listen. Please reach out to us. Everyone is looking for you, Mommy, everywhere. We will not rest. Your children will not rest until we are together again. We love you, Mom.
You probably.
Now, think about that. Also, doesn't Annie say something here, Mama?
Our mom is our heart.
Yeah.
You probably.
Okay, so now you're at home, you see this and you go, you know what? I'm gonna go after these people. I'm gonna interject myself into the most highest profile kidnapping since the Lindbergh baby. And in today's technological world, within 2 minutes, I can get information to these people. I got an idea. I'm going to go to Google and Google Annie. Wonder what her last name is. I wonder, is it Guthrie? I'm the suspect. Well, you know what? Maybe it's Tommaso. I don't know. You know what? Here's a better idea. I'm just going to Google the other name. Because I just know they got to be connected. Okay, I've got them. You know what I'm going to do now? I'm going to send 2 text messages, one to him and one to her. Did you get the Bitcoin? We're waiting on our end for the transaction. You know what? They didn't respond. I might as well call them. Really? And so it was so simple that the feds were on him in 2 seconds. Lickety split. We got him. Where? LA. Go. And they hook him up. And what do? They use him as a prop to the world. Don't be like this guy. We're coming after you. Meanwhile, they can't catch the guys asking for 4, 6, or 8 million in Bitcoin in these letters and all this other stuff. TMZ, the news stations. Okay, but they got this knucklehead, and they're going to use him as the example to tell those people, don't be doing that because we're watching you. We're coming after you. Okay, but that seems to be this idea of, well, why couldn't you catch the other guys too? Why couldn't you get the Bitcoin guys that TMZ's, reading every single night on the news? Okay, we got another letter into TMZ. Let's go. You ready? And go. Okay. So then you see this idea that goes, well, what are we going to do with him here? Well, let's send him to Tucson. Tucson. Yeah. Well, we arrested him here in LA. Yeah, I know, but Nancy is over there in Tucson, but it's a federal case. Why are we sending him to Tucson? Because I said, send him to Tucson. Then U.S. attorneys can do that. So they send him to Tucson. And here's something, I don't know if a lot of people have made the connection yet. And I don't know if it's a connection or not. Who showed up at the house just before they gave it away the other day? Do you have that video, Josh?
Yeah, I believe that was prosecutors.
From what office?
I believe Arizona, the local feds.
The U.S. Attorney's Office.
Oh, really?
The United States U.S. Attorney's Office. Why are they interested in walking the crime scene? And why is Daniel, or this guy from LA, now in Tucson?
Right.
Being prosecuted.
Perhaps
A coincidence?
giving a tug of the web.
Coinky dink?
But that person is probably part of some network. So a tug of the web.
Let's see here.
Rule number one. Rule number one. All right, what's going on here, dude? Oh, well, I decided to, interject myself and see if I could get some Bitcoin. Okay. The guy in the blue shirts. Whoops.
No, let me pull it down because I
They
lost
got
it.
FBI on their shirts. You can see their badges too when they walk out. We don't need no stinking badges.
Did any get a car back?
Nope.
Not yet. It was talked about actually on Chris' show tonight that they're going through it's a process that they're going through so she can get her car back. But they also got the car through a federal search warrant.
Correct.
It wasn't voluntarily turned over. Oh, it may have been, but they didn't. That's not how they took it.
They searched it under a search warrant.
Correct.
That means you had to have probable cause to allow you to go into that car, and you had to explain that to a judge.
Can you, Chris, explain what we're looking at in this photo? What is this? Is that the garage?
Yeah, that's the garage. And so what typically happens when you're about ready to pull the trigger on something or somebody, okay, then the U.S. attorneys and sometimes the state attorneys will say, well, before we do completely 100% release the house, I need to have the homicide detectives walk us through the scene. And that's what this is. This is a scene walk from all of the attorneys. Now, there could be somebody in there from also the state attorney's office too, Josh. I guess I should clarify that. But my money's on these are U.S. attorneys.
Yeah, but this isn't abnormal, though, is it, for prosecutors to walk a crime scene at least once?
Only if they're going to go to court.
Well, eventually that's what they're hoping to do.
Yeah, but okay, so then what's the value of doing this now if you don't have somebody in your mind?
Because they're turning the house back over.
I've turned hundreds of houses over to homicide victims' families after the body's removed. You don't call the DA and say you want to walk through this crime scene. Okay, no, it's typically after that. Okay, unless it's like a major situation where you got 10 people deceased and they're going to come down and they're going to walk it that night with you. They're going to, you're going to process it. And then you're going to say, okay, do you want to walk this thing? Yeah. Okay. So you get a feel for it. That's what they're doing here. But they're almost 3 weeks into this case.
Right.
And so what are they doing? They're walking them through and they're going, okay, A, B, C, and D. And then when you think about, okay, when does the grand jury meet? Do they meet on what days? Mondays and Wednesdays or Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's when these guys go back when it's fresh in their mind and they go back and they present the evidence. And you'll notice typically the homicide guys are the guys that will do this walkthrough with them. And they'll point things out. And you'll see up on the porch, there's one video of these guys standing on the porch and the homicide guys is doing this. And what he's doing is he's pointing how the blood droplets. That's what they're looking at. Okay. You can see his hand going like this as he's talking. Okay. And if you want to try to find that video, I'll point it out for you. So what he's doing is he's explaining the blood evidence on the porch. Okay. Typically you could just do that with photographs. But what he's doing is he's explaining something that he has more knowledge about, and he's telling them about it. Okay.
Look at this really quick, Chris.
Yeah, of course.
Not only did the text not reference Nancy, it was also missing the mention of an account number to send the transaction to.
That's a great catch.
Yeah, and maybe hey, we look. So is it? I mean, look, I think. This is obviously we're sort of speculating, obviously, but I mean, is this like possibly a crime syndicate getting payback, or when I mean a crime syndicate, I'm not talking about cartel. I'm not talking about that kind of stuff. But look, there are people that have certain types of organizations that will collect on things that are owed to them under any circumstances. And if you don't pay, then they will harm you or your family. And they make that very clear. Is that possible? I mean, is that something that we could be looking at here? I'm not talking about the family. I'm talking about an outside entity targeting because of something like that.
I don't know. I don't have enough knowledge to know that. I would say the fact that they remember one thing. Also, I want to point one other thing out. Guess whose car is still in custody when all these attorneys are at the house?
Annie and Tommaso's.
You don't think they went over and looked at that car?
Yeah, I mean, I think they did. Yeah.
I'll guarantee it. If you're going to go look at the house, why wouldn't you go look at the cars and evidence? That's exactly what they did. Saying you guys can now take that and put it on Twitter and say it's yours. Okay. But they went from this house, got back in those Suburbans, and they drove over to the tow yard, the storage yard at the evidence facility. And that same detective said, okay, we got A, B, C, and D, E, F, and G. Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. That's interesting. Maybe. Yeah, perhaps. Okay. And now the question can be asked, what do we do with the car? Do you need it? They can say, no, release it back to the family.
Well,
We've got photos. We've got all this other stuff. Go ahead.
Dr. Gary, what do you think of, what do you make of this? I mean, you know, you've covered many crime stories and stuff, studied these things. I mean, what do you make of them showing up here with the feds and possibly the do you think that this is standard, or do you think that they're on to something?
No, I agree with Chris. I think there would be no reason to do this now unless things were moving in that direction. That's my sense too. But I think they're holding close to the vest what, you know, the theory is of the case. But I think to the public, the heavy focus is on door guy. But I think behind the scenes, I mean, you know that investigators are going to think a lot like we do. And you right, Chris? I mean, you know, that there's no way that they're not crossing the same T's and dotting the same I's, and, you know, and I think that guy from California, you know, partially the motivation for charging him was to try to get him to talk, to try to get him to make a deal. So because he's facing significant time, Chris, isn't he?
That would have been the time in California.
But we don't know that he didn't make a deal.
No, we don't. What, right. Door number one or door number two? You
an idiot. I mean, unless he's
you make the choice, and I'll talk to these guys and see if there's anything in it for you. Well, I want immunity. Well, I don't know about that, but we certainly can ask them.
Right. Okay. What did you mean by this message? Why'd you pick? Right. But that story that we were told about why they were messaged, where'd that come from?
Which part, Gary?
The whole explanation for why they were found and messaged, where'd that come from?
From him.
But where is it reported? In the affidavit?
Yeah, it's in the affidavit.
Right.
He did a Google search.
Yeah, bring it up.
Or he did a web search and just found their contact information and reached out. Mm-hmm. He just decided to reach out.
Yeah, but it's a non sequitur if there aren't prior communications.
That's the point. Why even that guy? Why TC? I get AC. But why, TC? And now you guys see how my brain works, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. I've been asking this question. Why is this guy all of a sudden just arbitrarily picking TC when he's not even in the picture? He's not sitting there on the couch saying, reading the letter with my sister. This guy's in the background somewhere. Just why didn't he pick the brother's wife in Vermont? Let me ask you that one.
I mean, I just think that because as it stands, you're dealing with people that have been cleared.
Mike knows me.
I just think, it's important to emphasize over and over again that we can't, that you can't implicate somebody. But I'm
not implicating him.
I know that. I'm just responding to the audience. Yeah. But I think there are things here that do not look right. Something is wrong with this story. But Chris, they have to be investigating this. We can't be the only ones who notice this. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you see what they did is they connect him to the TV station in the affidavit. That's the investigator's thought process. And go up in that one paragraph up above there, Josh. Yeah, keep going. There, right there. KOLD, a CBS affiliate in Tucson, received a ransom via their online tip portal. Well, this guy wouldn't have known that. He's in Los Angeles. So this is creative writing.
Well, and that's what TMZ reported as well.
Yeah, but they didn't go, they weren't telling the world. that it's $6 million in Bitcoin at that point. Not yet. Remember, it was a payment plan. If you pay us $4 million on whatever the date was,
It was the Thursday before that Monday of the final deadline.
right? And so it was like three, if we'll put you up on the payment plan. If you give us $3 million today, okay, you forgot. How about, whatever it is, $6 million, and then it kicked up on Monday. If you can't hit it on whatever $6 million, let's go $8 million on Monday. Is that fair enough? Okay. But in the interim, the FBI swooped in and took this guy out and took him off the street. And then they said, well, don't be this guy to all the other people. Don't do this. No more. You notice we haven't heard anything about the other guys that sent these ransom demands via their online tip portal. No, they were fast enough to get that guy, but they're not fast enough to get these guys. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. I'm probably way lost, but then you see that, TC. Why don't they even use his name? Why are they using initials?
I think, Chris, another part of this whole problem is that if Nancy Guthrie is deceased, and I hate to say that does seem more probable than not at this point, statistically, there are no remains. And I think that's a problem for a case. I really do. I think that's a very similar situation going on. No shoot vaccine. Yes, I am many things, but stupid is not on the list. I think this is very similar to what you have going on in the Summer Wells situation.
Well, but on this one, right? Just to your point, Gary, here's where I think the weird anomalies are.
Mm-hmm.
You get this situation happening with the text message.
Right.
What's the next thing the authorities did?
Mm-hmm.
They impounded AC's car. They got a search warrant for AC's car. They went over to their house with the UFED. They searched their house twice. They went around the neighborhood asking about AC and TC to their neighbors. They canvassed the entire neighborhood and said, hey, your neighbors over there? Yeah. What can you tell me about them? And then here's the really weird part. They went back at 10 o'clock at night into the garage and took photographs of what? In the garage. Are you photographing when your mother's in the house playing games and eating? I don't know. I could be totally in left field. But at the same time, I guess you're done with the car, so you might as well give it back. But then, as recently as a week ago, hey, do you guys still have the car? Right? The car,
it's been a month.
Car's back at Annie's. That's what I see. That's what they're saying. Okay.
If that happened, then it just happened today or yesterday at the earliest.
Well, according to the PIO, about 2 hours ago, they still hadn't returned it.
Yeah, and it's been a month.
Yeah, after a month.
They've had it close to a month.
Yeah, we'll wonder why.
Because
That's all I'm asking. I just wonder why. Why'd they have it for a month? Your mom's missing.
I don't have any doubt that a vehicle was involved. I am pretty sure that there was probably a driver and a person in a passenger seat, two people who probably removed Miss Guthrie, living or deceased, into some kind of vehicle that had a area in the back in which a supine person could be concealed. And Chris, I mean, wouldn't you agree? I mean, this is a vehicle's definitely in play. I mean, and also blood droplets go right up to the driveway, the end of the driveway. I mean, there was some loading into a vehicle of a person who was dribbling blood.
Yeah, and play that out where just look at the Range Rover. They gave it back. Do you realize the Range Rover has been returned before AC's car? Let that sink in. Let that sink in for a moment.
yes, it was. Did you happen to see the interview with him, by the way?
No, not yet. A couple of folks in the chat were telling me tonight.
It's like a 10-minute interview. I don't know if you wanted to check it out.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I mean, I've seen it, but I haven't seen it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I can. Do you want to hear it?
Sure.
I'm gonna bring it up here. What was the guy in the vest? What was the reporter's name? I always forget her name.
Brianna Whitney, I think.
Yeah, there she is.
She doesn't play, that woman.
She's a pretty good reporter.
Right, Chris? She doesn't play around, that woman.
No, but I kept hitting her on Twitter to say, go find out about the car. Would you ask about the car, please? Finally, somebody.
Okay, here it is.
Many people have believed that you are the person on the surveillance video, the abductor, the masked person. Is that you?
It's not me. I don't see the resemblance of it looking like me, but absolutely not. I have nothing to do with this case.
Nothing to do with it. Do you have any idea who is involved in the abduction?
I don't. If I did, I would happily tell FBI, police, anything. I mean, I, like everyone else, just want Nancy to come home and be safe. But that being said, I have nothing to do with this case, and that's it.
Explain to me what happened on the night you were detained, where you were, you're with your car. How did that unfold in your eyes?
So I was driving home. I noticed two sheriff vehicles following me. They pulled me over at the Culvers right there, asked me to get out of the car, didn't tell me what it was about. So they had me cuffed in the back of a cop car, detained. I was asking, like, what am I being detained for?
Okay, to refresh for people, this is Luke Daly. He was the second person. So they detained Carlos at the beginning, searched his home, released him, and then they again got when SWAT, I believe this was about 2 weeks ago or so. SWAT following him in his Range Rover, and then was at his mother's house. I believe that's where he lives as well. They had a federal search warrant and detained him for about 6 hours or so, impounded his car, according to him, tore it apart and gave it back to him in bad shape.
And they wouldn't tell me anything. They just said that the detectives would be there to talk to me. And once I saw like FBI and all the other cars start pulling in, I'm like, oh, this is probably about the Guthrie case. I'm like, this should be easy. Like, I have nothing to do with this, so it should be not a big deal to clear my name and move on. But the whole time during the questioning, didn't really seem like more of like a fishing expedition for them to try to get me to say something, because all the dates I was telling them where I was, things like that. I'm like, all you'd have to do is look at my phone and see my location. It was nowhere, anywhere connection to this. But still, it was tough, like being there. Like, I mean, I don't trust.
Hey, Chris, really quick, I just wanted to say this, and Dr. Gary as well. I watched the interview with this guy's lawyer on Brian Enton. He did an interview with Brian Enton did an interview with their lawyer. And Brianna also did an interview with this guy's mother. And she asked if she knew, Brianna asked the mother if she knew who or had ever met Savannah or Nancy. And she said in the interview, no. The lawyer claims that they did meet at a grocery store sometime back. I don't know if that's significant or not, but I mean, you either met her or you didn't, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, in terms of.
I just found.
Yeah, but to the extent that I'm like thinking that there's pressure on this case and they want to find the person. So like the whole time while I'm sitting in the back of the cop car, I'm like panicking, thinking that I'm going to be framed for this, or they're trying to pin this on me somehow.
Did they tell you what led them to you? I mean, something made them believe they needed to talk to you about it. What was that?
I asked them. They didn't tell me any information about that. And I have thought of any type of reason why they could have come after me. But there's nothing. And I think that's why they didn't tell me.
Were you in the area of the home at the time, like the overnight, or would it have been something like, we've tracked this person near?
Well, I live near her house, but I mean, I didn't even know that until after the fact. Like, I barely just learned where her actual house was in relation to mine.
Hey, stop for a minute.
Yeah.
What's the first thing he said when the cops were behind him?
This has to do with Nancy's. I heard that too. This must have to do with the Nancy Guthrie case. So this should be able to be easily explained or something, or.
And I just found out I live near.
Yeah. Look, man, I know. I think it's weird.
So I didn't even know.
They didn't pull him out of a hat, did they?
Had you ever met her?
No.
Did you know who she was?
I knew who
I haven't given up on this guy.
she was because my mother was following the case. But in terms of other than that, I would just go off what my mother was telling me.
And so how long were you detained for?
Probably maybe 4 or 5 hours.
In the back of that car the whole time?
Yeah, why would he assume that it was about the Guthrie case?
And they searched your Range Rover extensively?
Yeah, they searched Range Rover. They towed my Range Rover. Did all DNA testing or whatever, and then gave it back to me.
Oh, stop. How'd he get his Range Rover back?
I don't know.
Asking for a friend. Go ahead, next.
Took my cell phone. I've had no way to get a hold of anyone, which is probably a good thing because everyone's looking at me like I'm this person that I'm not.
I'll let you know something else.
Yeah.
I asked the sheriff's department today also, do you still have their phones?
They have.
No, I was talking about TCs and ACs.
Oh.
I said, do you have their phones? We're not talking about that.
So they would have just said, yeah, okay.
Next.
So it's been rough.
You got your car back
Yes.
in rough condition, or was it okay?
Well, when I went to pick it up, like it wouldn't start. They, I guess they drained the battery down, and it was just covered in the whatever white substance that they use for testing. But yeah, then I got it started up, and it wasn't. Luckily, it wasn't damaged in terms of like repairs or anything. But
So when they released you, what did they say? They say you're free? Did they say never mind? I mean, what was the What was the verbiage there from
We'll
them?
be back.
They had just told me that they were still at my house, so I couldn't go home, but they drove me.
By the way, also his lawyer, they asked his lawyer if they still have his phone. And the lawyer said, I don't know that. I don't know the answer to that.
Somewhere near the house and just dropped me off. I was like, well, I don't have a phone. How am I supposed to figure out when I can go back to the house? They basically said, you're just going to have to figure that out. So, I mean, I waited just where they dropped me off at for maybe an hour or so. I had a friend that lived near the area, and I walked over there. They weren't home.
Get him a piece
So I
of
was
tape
just
with his
waiting,
name on it in case he gets
like
lost.
basically just on their patio. And then it got to the point where I'm like, well, they should be done by now. I walked back to my house, and this was like the worst part for me, is getting there and seeing the house torn up. But the worst part was my mom not being there, and her being elderly and having AFib and things like that. I'm thinking the worst. Like, I see her cars here, but she's not there.
Stop.
And I don't.
Those are health references to a heart.
Yeah, AFib. Yeah.
That's interesting. Keep going.
have my phone to get a hold of her. So I'm wondering what happened, if I need to start calling hospitals or what the deal was. But luckily, I guess she went to one of the neighbors, but I didn't find that out until the next day.
Right. You were detained and released, but you've said it, your face, your name, it's everywhere online. People still believe you were either involved or did this. What's that been like for you to have your name, your picture, even a past mugshot all over the internet associated with this case?
I mean, for me, it's terrible. It's hard to go anywhere, and the hard part is they're making all these assumptions based on things that have absolutely no relevance, and they're just bringing up my past, which I do have a past, but nothing violent or anything like that. All my past has just been involved with using drugs, and I haven't been in that life for over 2 years now. So all the things that they're bringing up, I guess it's public record, but it would never would have came out if it wasn't for all these people speculating and doing things like that. So now people that had no idea about my past, so I've done like a good job of working past it and not having anything to do with it. So them doing that now is kind of just reopening this whole speculation and make me out to look like this bad person, which I'm not.
And it's not just been you. People have found, records of an alleged girlfriend of yours. There's been a lot of rumors swirling around. What do you want to say about those rumors, about you, about her, about, everybody that people have looked at and said, well, they could do this?
Yeah, first of all, that's not my girlfriend. I barely knew that girl, and I was arrested with her on a completely different.
Is this the Kayla girl that he's talking about?
I guess. He doesn't know
about
She's only in the
alleged
car.
He barely knows her. Yeah.
girlfriend.
And it was her drugs.
And it's not just been you. People have
Another
found,
dude. Sorry.
records of an alleged girlfriend of yours. There's been a lot of rumors swirling around. What do you want to say about
Smith? I told her no.
about those rumors, about you, about her, about, everybody that people have looked at and said,
Yeah, I know he shaved, but I mean, I understand that. Maybe he was just shaving for TV.
well, they could do this.
Classic. I barely
first of
know
all, that's
her.
not my girlfriend. I barely knew that girl, and I was arrested with her.
He got arrested with her. He barely knew her.
I
On a
barely
completely
know.
different circumstance over a year ago. I haven't talked to her since, and I don't.
Okay.
I guess they're just going off of the arrest, saying that I was arrested with her. So, but I hardly know her and don't associate with her. But in terms of everything else, I mean, all the speculation is just going off of. I don't even know if people really believe it, but online it just seems like they're pushing this narrative and trying to make connections with things that are, I don't know, basically like circumstantial, like saying my eyelashes match the guy.
Needed to get a warrant in this situation. How difficult would it have been?
Yeah, they got one. I'm sure of it.
Now he wanted. How hard would it be to get?
How hard would it be to get one?
Oh, well, they probably
you need.
Well, first of all, they had a footprint of some sort just to stop him. They hit his house with a warrant. So they had some type of footprint, digital footprint, that put him into the play here.
A federal warrant.
Well, my suspicion is that these people that are getting sort of checked are probably connected somehow through their cell phone activity, where they happen to be at a moment, things they looked up, etc. Someone who has their phone number in their contacts, a message they received, something like that.
So if he lives close to Nancy, that means he also lives close to Annie and Tommaso.
Go figure.
It would be interesting to know if those two know each other.
That question wasn't asked. The question was asked about if
that question was not asked.
If he had met Nancy.
Correct.
The ski mask picture, which I'm sure
his
like
mom,
you could use
his
anyone's
mom was
picture.
monitoring the case, not him.
Well,
He would just check in with mom. Mom, how's the Nancy case going? The FBI's asking.
And find similarities.
And you don't recognize the person on that in that footage?
No, I don't. But in terms of all this, like I said, they're comparing my face to this. They're talking about my Range Rover, which I didn't even buy until after she was reported missing.
It was a new car, yeah, for you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're talking about another car that was towed off my property. That
doesn't matter if the car was bought after she went missing, because he's still operating in that car. He could still be doing nefarious. I'm not saying he is or he isn't, but he could still be doing other things in that car, moving things in that car, other people in that car. It doesn't. Why get it? And also, you would question, why'd you get a new car right after this happened?
car wasn't an accident. Has nothing to do with this. It wasn't towed.
What's that?
How'd you pay for it?
In relation to this case, it was being told by the insurance company to assume if it was totaled or not. So that had nothing to do with the case. There's no evidence to point towards me other than speculation.
You really have no idea what led them to you in this case?
Absolutely not.
Still a mystery to you?
Yes, and I would love to find out.
So, Chris, my question, and Dr. Gary as well, they don't have to tell him anything. They don't have to tell him that.
No, they're in the middle of an investigation of an 84-year-old woman who's been taken out of her bed.
Were you dealing mostly with sheriff's deputies or FBI agents when you were detained?
When I was detained by the sheriffs, but in terms of all the questioning was done by the FBI.
What would you like to say to both PCSD and the FBI?
Basically what I told him before, if there's anything, I'm happy to help. If there actually was something real that I could help them with, but like I said, they have my phone. They went through my phone. So, I mean, if it was anything real, they could look through that and hope clear my name. But in terms of the collateral damages, this being part of it, there's not really any type of way. There's no going back from this.
For your whole family too. I mean, your mom has had to go through this too. As a family, how has this made you guys feel collectively together to kind of be in this public shock, this public scrutiny?
It all just seems like a nightmare. I mean, it doesn't seem real, and it's just been, we're all it's just been a nightmare.
It's funny that, and I see people in the chat, they say, well, it's not him. It's not him. And some people think it is him. Frankly, none of us know anything. Okay. We're all speculating here. We don't know if it's not him. We don't know if it is him. All we know is that the guy, there was enough probable cause to pull this guy over. And the first thing that this guy thinks about when he's pulled over is, this must be related to the Nancy Guthrie case.
I know my mom, she was,
You know, come on. That's ridiculous.
she has like problem with stress, and like she was doing good before this. After this, she's been a lot more stressed. It's been
You know what I would think? Oh crap, I got a tail light out, or my tags. Maybe I didn't put my tags on right, or maybe my license plate's hanging off.
it's been
This must have to do with the Nancy Guthrie case?
hard. I'll let her speak to how it's affected her, but I mean, in terms of collectively as a family, it's been a nightmare.
You know, what's your message for
And
Nancy Guthrie's family?
bring in the attorneys.
I mean,
Oh, he's got one.
Action.
I like everyone else. I want to see her come home. I want the actual suspect to be found. I think it's really unfair to them to give them false hope by going off whatever they went off to have this huge investigation and raid happen. To me, it's like giving them false hope that they had a suspect and then it was nothing. And I'm not the first person either, so I think it's wrong in that sense.
This is your first interview since you've been detained. What's your hope in putting your voice out there now?
I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm not saying he's innocent. I don't know. And you know, I respect the, you know, innocent until proven guilty. I certainly do.
That's only for in a court of law.
Yeah, I'm not a court, but also,
But remember, investigations, you're guilty until proven innocent in a court of law.
Yeah.
Investigators operate on probable cause. Do you believe you have enough information that this person committed that crime? Okay. You don't believe that innocent people commit crimes. That's what the court does. And the moment a person goes to court, the first thing the judge says, it is your duty right now before this court to presume the innocence of this defendant. That is not the standard for investigations. The standard for investigation is, do you have probable cause beyond mere suspicion that this person has committed the crime that you're about ready to take their liberty away and put handcuffs on them?
Right.
If you thought everybody was innocent, then nobody would get arrested.
there would be no search warrants or no.
None. Zero. Zilch. Nada. Zoo. Zippo. That's only during a trial does that presumption kick in.
Yep. All right.
That people will get from this
And by the way, he did this interview. What did he expect people not to pick it apart?
interview.
I would, if I was his attorney, I would have told him, no way. Absolutely not.
Barry Morphew did an interview.
Yeah.
Ted Bundy did interviews. Everybody does an interview. And guess what? They're all innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.
Yeah, he's not arrested. He's not
Oh,
arrested.
he's free to get up and walk out.
That's right.
I mean, for my personal interest, I would just say just not to go off speculation of everything you hear on the internet and kind of like the hive mind mentality that someone says something and then they just go off of it based on no evidence, no truth.
But but the thing is, he doesn't know what he got detained for, and that he would like to know why he was detained and searched, but no evidence and no truth to it.
But I mean,
For what?
in terms of like moving forward, I just want to be clear.
Him being nervous means nothing to me. I mean, because people get nervous when they do interviews. I mean, I would be nervous if I was in his situation as well. I'm not saying that his nervousness indicates anything, and I couldn't tell you that. I don't know, so I'm not, but it's some of the things that he says that you kind of they do make you go, wow, that's weird.
Have actual verification that I was.
Plus that vest, dude. I mean, that vest is too much. I can't handle that vest. Gary, would you wear a vest like that?
He got one for Christmas or for his birthday.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna get you one for your birthday.
You're muted, Gary.
Let's see how long it takes him to realize he's muted.
No, I said I'm waiting for Tim Gunn to come out and have a heart attack and vomit all over it. No, it's bad. It looks kind of like something a little kid would put on if he had to dress up like as a Christmas elf for a pageant or something.
I said last night that I said that he looks like he's going to do this interview and then go sign the Declaration of Independence afterwards.
No, it's like if someone said to you, go into your closet and pick something, you know, to dress up as a Keebler elf. That's a Keebler elf outfit.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Was cleared by the FBI and sheriff.
You're in freaking Arizona, by the way. Dude, it's hot as
like elf on the shelf.
It's so hot.
Whoever else.
Have they officially cleared you?
I don't date. This is just going off what I've heard, but I guess I've been cleared, but they don't close any case, I guess, because it's still ongoing. But I mean, I know personally there's nothing else that they're gonna come across because it's still what I've heard, but
Officially cleared you?
By the FBI and cleared have in terms of like moving forward here on the internet and kind of like the hive mind mentality that someone says something and then they just go off of it based on no evidence, no truth. But I mean, in terms of like moving forward, I just want to be cleared, have actual verification that I was cleared by the FBI and sheriff, whoever else.
Have they officially cleared you?
I don't date. This is just going off what I've heard, but I guess
go back.
I've been cleared, but the verification that forward, I just want to be cleared, have actual verification that I was cleared by the FBI and sheriff, whoever else.
Have they officially cleared you?
I don't date. This is just going off what I've heard, but I guess I've been cleared, but they don't close any case, I guess, because it's still ongoing. But I mean, I know personally there's nothing else that they're gonna come across that points towards me. So
unequivocally, you are not the person. You are not involved.
Absolutely, 100%.
Do you think that this guy was told don't leave the area?
I'll tell you right now, he's worried.
He seems like it, doesn't
he? There's something here.
He's not
just on that last piece, that last part where he says, that's what I've heard. Then he kind of mumbles almost like a word salad.
By who? Heard what?
Well, you see, he's trying to explain that he's trying to get his name cleared by the sheriff and by the FBI. And then he says, but, I don't know, and blah, 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 whatever he was saying there. It was like, what? Most people will go, okay, so things of deception, right? Is this idea, if you're innocent, 99% of the time, first of all, she is a journalist.
Chris, I'm sorry. You have the most amazing ability to say hilarious things without flinching. It's like something out of The Naked Gun. And you go on. You crack me up because you'll say like, okay, so now we're going to talk about home fries over here.
Well, you know what's great? You know what's crazy about that?
Oh my God.
I would do that with these guys. I'd sit across from them and go, what? Did you just is that what you just did?
Yeah, like, see, when you said that, I couldn't hold it in because you're like deadly calm when you say it.
Well, because there's something more going on here behind the curtain.
Yeah, and I agree with the person in the audience. I don't like to be mean spirited, I really don't. The outfit is preposterous.
It's a
the outfit
joke.
is ridiculous.
I'm not being mean to the guy. Am I being mean to the guy?
It's sense of humor.
I don't like to be mean spirited. It's true, but
it's just whatever, dude. It's ridiculous.
But you are hilarious, Chris. I'm sorry.
I'm good. I think it's hysterical.
It's a joke. People are joking. Jesus.
It's the way Chris says things sarcastically.
Gary doesn't mean anything by it. What's going on over there?
Yeah, you're so mean. You're shallow. Shut up.
Anyway, let's get back to, chicken beak here. Okay.
Is there anything else you want to?
Chicken beak.
You're
Shallow. You're
Go
so
back.
mean.
Look at her. Look at her face.
People may have said that you've seen.
I'm going to ask the
that you
big
feel
question here.
that you have the opportunity now to address.
Nothing particular is coming to mind right now. Obviously, I'm nervous. This is
your opportunity to tell the world in a thousand different ways. Most people would go, look, here's the deal. Okay. I have no idea why the cops stopped me in any way, shape, or form. I have nothing to do with this case at all. Anyway, what do you want? You want my firstborn? I'll give them to you.
Right.
I didn't do anything. Okay. And instead of, they're kind of keeping the case open and I'm not really sure why, let's, everybody jump in.
doing it again, Chris.
There's hot water over here, don't put your foot in it. Okay. So, and everybody that I'll guarantee you, whoever did the initial interview with this guy is loving this because they can do a comparative analysis now to the one where they had him at the car. They talked to him there. Remember, they fingerprinted him at the car, right? I don't know if you remember that the night they stopped him. So they've got that behavioral that you can pull off of. And then you have now they get him down at the the hot seat. They lock him into that. And then you get into this. This is golden.
Chris, let me read this to you really too. This is from today.com.
Okay.
Sheriff on Nancy Guthrie case gives update, says investigators are definitely closer. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos believes investigators are making progress as the search for Nancy Guthrie enters a new month. Nanos spoke with NBC News correspondent Liz Krutz on March 2nd with some updates on the case involving the missing 84-year-old mother of the Today co-anchor Savannah Guthrie. Savannah, her sister Annie, and Annie's husband Tommaso were also seen March 2nd placing flowers and a card at a growing tribute outside their mother's home near Tucson, Arizona. The family continues to plead for help from anyone with information about her whereabouts. Have offered $1 million reward. The handwritten message on the card read, though we are surrounded by so much darkness and uncertainty, our love burns bright. We love you, Mommy. We miss you so much. Let's see. And then Nano said Sheriff's Department now has dedicated team from their homicide unit working with the FBI on the case. He added that he and his team are operating under the belief that Guthrie is still alive and are pursuing thousands of leads. I think the investigators are definitely closer, he said.
Yeah, he goes, I think the investigators are closer, he said. And this guy says, are you cleared? I think I'm cleared, but they haven't really told me, basically. I mean, I'm paraphrasing. But so you got two people on either sides of the pendulum saying they both think they're getting close to something. He thinks he's getting close to being cleared, and the sheriff thinks he's getting close to solving the case with his team. So I'm curious. I'm sure they swabbed him. And if his DNA's in that house, this guy, he's toast.
Toast. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just, I saw somebody didn't like, I called him chicken beak.
Why?
I don't know. I could have called him chicken lips, but I didn't do that.
You call a lot of people chicken beak. You've called me chicken beak before.
Well, but I prefer chicken lips.
Okay, chicken lips.
Like I said, my first interview, and I mean, I'm not trying to get any more attention from this. I just want
I'm
to
only
put it
in
out there for
front of
me
the
that
front of
I
the
had nothing
camera.
to do with this.
Oh wait, stop.
And
that line right there is as good as we're waiting for the refund or we're waiting for the Bitcoin. I'm trying to not get any attention to this. Meanwhile, I'm sitting in my lawyer's office doing a interview with the national news, but I don't want any attention. Okay, sure.
I'm hoping that the truth will come out, whatever that may be. I have no idea.
Do you notice he says, I'm
I
hoping,
appreciate your time.
watch my head for a minute. I mean, you can play back. Okay. Okay. This is how he answered that. I'm hoping the truth comes out.
Yeah, I did say.
Go back and watch it.
To put it out there for me that I had
Like on
nothing
a
to do with
swivel.
this, and
Look at
I'm hoping that the truth will come out,
look at that.
whatever that may be. I have no idea.
Subconsciously, and Brianna is like, okay, great. I got this guy. I got an exclusive here. You know, yada yada.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the wobblehead. I'm hoping, that the truth will come out, i.e., and he's shaking his head no. No, please, not that truth. I don't want any truth to come out like that, whatever that is. Drugs, alcohol, the girl, whoever the other person is. What's her name? You mentioned her name earlier.
Brianna?
No, not the reporter. The girl that he was arrested with, that he doesn't know.
Something Day.
Yeah. Lucy?
Kayla.
Excuse me, Kayla. Yeah, Kayla.
Yeah, they were arrested, but they don't know each other.
Let me just give a couple questions up here really quick and say hi to Dr. Gary. Do you think the abductor was motivated specifically of her close relationship with her daughter Savannah? If this is a personal cause to cause hurt to Savannah, possible grudge?
There isn't enough clear evidence to say what exactly went on here. But the mixture of psychologies that are clearly at play suggest some kind of arrangement between, as I said earlier, a kind of a cook in the kitchen that isn't seen, and then the agent, the waiter, that is to say, right? Now, why would somebody do such a thing? Probably money. Now, this idea of choosing the victim because they are the mother of a famous person who, is worth, I think, $40 million, if I'm not mistaken. That's possible, but I still think that the person who did this was just the executor of a plan, the executioner of a plan. I don't mean that to imply murder. I just mean the person who executes a plan. I think beyond that, it's unclear. But as far as like doing it for infamy and all that, it's all possible. I don't know yet.
Sure. In my opinion, Jason, thank you so much. Regardless if TC or DC are involved, TC has a sketchy circle. If not involved, someone from his band circle came up with the idea of Nancy. Also, he's Italian. The low in the underworld did this as revenge to him. So you're saying that it's possibly mafia related. Dr. Gary, you're Italian. Are you in the mafia?
Very funny.
Okay.
I think as an Italian, someone of Italian origin, I've always found the assumption of that association to be a terrible stereotype.
Sure.
I mean, that there's a lot of things that my people do well.
Yes, right.
Jason,
What's that line from Sophia Petrillo in the Golden Girls? Is that all you people know how to do? She says, no, we also know how to, what is that? What is the line? We also know how to paint, cook, and make love. Something like that. I can't remember the line. Well, I'm very proud of my background.
No, I don't think that he was referring to be because he's Italian. It's the lowest of the low. I think he's saying he's Italian, but this crime was done by people who are lowest of the low. And it was done by those people, because anybody that does anything like this to an 84-year-old woman is that.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that I always resent the connection in people's mind between
No, I know. Yeah.
Italian.
You can thank the Sopranos for that too. Chris, I know you've been around here a long time, and I'm gonna let you get, and we're gonna finish up here. We were gonna take
all right, I'll see you guys. Happy birthday.
It's pretty late.
Thank you, lab rats, everybody.
Well, now you're
have fun.
You're 364 days early for my next one, because it's already the 4th now where I am. So I appreciate that.
I was thinking that we could do a call in. Maybe we can do a call in.
I can stay on with you and do some calling.
Well, we're going to be on 3 hours here soon. I've had a long day.
I got to put Buddy in.
Take
Aloha, everybody. Good night.
But I was thinking maybe we can do it Thursday or Friday.
Oh, if you want, I just get such a kick out of doing the call.
Oh yeah, I definitely want to. All right, Chris, thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Hey, if I don't see you later, Josh, so what?
Josh, it looks like those little legs are Chris's that are.
Hey, pray for Brandy and that case that's going, and also for Dale Warner's case. Did you see Greg Hardy on the stand today?
No, I didn't, but I did read about it.
Yeah, it really took a toll on him. It finally hit him that his sister's gone.
I heard Huff is retiring.
It was hard. So, and did you hear how Greca described us, me and Billy?
No,
he goes, little Billy and his podcaster.
Wow.
In the D. Warner case, he goes, Greca's on the stand and the defense says, so who are these other people that you're talking about? And he goes, little Billy. And he had a podcaster with him.
Yeah.
And the defense is like, a podcaster. And they took a break. They went to the court. The court came back and said, do you know the name of the gentleman? He goes, yes, it was some Chris McDonough. Okay. Oh, so he's the podcaster? Yeah. Okay. And little Billy. So I sent Billy Little a meme of Little Debbie.
Oh, no.
With Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
Little. Anyway, have a great night. See ya.
Right. Thank you. So, Josh, thanks for what you do. Bringing us together, the chat, sharing ideas, having knowledgeable guests. It's a learning experience. I'm grateful to be part of the Lab family. Hosts like you, Chris, and guests like Dr. Brucato mean more than you know. I appreciate you, Jason. You're very generous, and we appreciate you. I believe there's something sinister with the family, a secret of some sort. Yeah, completely possible. Nancy Guthrie is the casualty. Just a thought that keeps coming to mind. Completely possible.
But Josh, I'm sorry, I get the giggles sometimes with Chris because
it's great.
He say things that are absolutely hilarious with a straight face. He doesn't break. It's exactly like The Naked Gun.
Yeah, it's like a little Leslie Nielsen.
Yes, and I can't help it. It's funny because he'll say, "Now look over here. Home fries is walking in it." And there's just something about how he says it that it's hysterical to me. I think he's funny. I'm sorry.
He's great.
It's like I'm so punchy from being exhausted after being sick.
Yeah, I'm pretty tired.
I couldn't hold it.
We're getting ready for that stupid parole hearing, and so we had to talk to the district attorney today. It just took hours. They're always so busy in that office. They set up a time for you to be there, and then it's like you have to wait like 2 hours to it's just a pain in the butt. But so in the next, what is it? About 3 weeks, I'll be headed to Pelican Bay.
Oh.
So that should be a lot of fun.
Manson was there at one point.
Probably. It's a terrible place. Josh, proud Australian Italian Vegemite sandwiches here. That's disgusting.
But I do love pelicans.
Pelicans are cool. In Chicago, they stick a gun in your back and walk you to your grandma's to get payment. Not fancy schemes. You're probably right about that.
Mm-hmm.
Did Annie and Tomasi voluntarily show their texts they got to Ellie, or was it discovered by Ellie? I don't know. That's a great question. Yeah, we won't know a lot of that stuff for some time. Jennifer Coffendorfer said the motive was terror. Shout out Coffendorfer. Let me see here. Muscles and Mascara, 46 months. She's been a member. Eve Loves God says, a happy birthday, Dr. Gary, fellow Marchie. There you go. I love this name, by the way, and thank you for your donate. Prayers and Pills.
What's the name?
Prayers and Pills.
Oh.
Pills are good. Let's see here. Dr. B, Pisces, I knew it. For you, I'm Catholic. I always feel spiritual connection and understand others who are Catholic. I saw your light the first time on panel. Catholic, please explain why. Okay. Catholics unite, right? I was baptized Catholic as a kid.
Really?
Yeah. Well, that's my family's Catholic, but I was raised by Baptists.
Do you know that baptism in the Catholic Church is considered a form of exorcism?
Well, that makes sense. You know what the pastor told me that baptized me?
Mm-hmm.
So I was baptized I was baptized really young. Mm-hmm. And he said to me, I saw him years later after he baptized me. He said the only issue when baptizing this guy was I didn't hold him under the water longer. I don't know what that means. Does that mean you wanted to drown me?
Who knows?
Psycho. Let's see. Dr. Gary, any new views on Nancy's case recently? Anything stick out to you? Just
every little thing that happens, becomes front page news. So I just think that we have to manage multiple cases at the same time. I think part of the reason you're seeing a transition away from the Pima County, the sheriff's office, I think, is precisely that they've got other cases. And I think the public needs to kind of do that too. There's just like a hyper focus, and there are a lot of things going on in the world that we need to simultaneously pay attention to. A lot of other cases. I think it's very important. But off the top of my head, I can think of at least 10 cases that are outrageous and grisly and horrifying that people never even heard of because they're just not getting any attention, particularly cases that involve people of color, Native Americans, the impoverished, things like that, people that are not native born. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I wish we could give this much attention to every case.
Yeah, and I to be honest with you, it's not something I'm willing to talk about tonight, but I've been covering what's been going on in the Middle East as well, talking about that because
I think it's important. But I think Savannah herself realizes that there is there's a lopsidedness in terms of the coverage that could
no
go.
Question about it.
I think a donation was made to
$500,000 to the missing and exploited children.
Right, because of the idea that it would be good if the same amount of attention could be given to other cases. I think that was really sensitive.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, by the way, if someone in the circle and I mean even loosely in the circle, committed this crime with the idea of getting money, and then sees the family give away $500,000.
I mean,
Can you imagine how they would go? You know, the steam would be coming out of their ears.
probably. I mean, I would think so. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. One Big Doodle says, "Happy birthday, Dr. Gary. Enjoy your special day." So what are you going to do for your birthday?
Well, my birthday was yesterday. I mean,
Correct.
I'm in New York, so it's almost 2 a.m. here. To be honest with you, I don't really think of my birthday as being something that's for me. I always think of a birthday as something that is for other people to have an opportunity to kind of tell you that they care about you or whatever. In other words, I don't expect anything or care about doing too much. But I think, let me put it this way: if on the day that people are supposed to be celebrating whatever it is they feel about me, I spend the day, helping patients, which I did all day, right? Talking to my family, a couple of friends, and then come on a true crime show and help pick at a case. That's me in a nutshell. I mean, that's like my typical that's my typical day. That's who I am. That's what I came into the world to do. But I'm not a person that cares very much about things like that.
And you also look thinner, by the way.
Yeah, I did lose some weight. You did also.
Yeah, I've lost some weight. Not for lack of effort either.
Yeah. Well, I also haven't been feeling well for some time. So I've had this bug that I can't get rid of. You know what I mean? So it's like even that helps with weight loss.
Yeah,
Some of it was painful, but I look great. That kind of thing. I mean, but listen, you lose weight. When you don't feel well and have no appetite for a week. What do you think's gonna happen?
I've been I haven't had any sugar in about 3.5 months.
By sugar, I assume you mean the confection and not the slang word meaning love and affection.
Yeah, both.
Right. I mean, I am sugar free.
Yeah.
I'm like sugar free Coke, that boring kind that nobody wants.
Yeah.
But seriously, I think. Do you like your birthday?
No.
I almost dread it. It's like I just want it out, done, get it over with.
No, I've never made a big fuss about it ever. I don't know. It's just not. I used to know people that would say like, I'm taking my birthday off, like from work.
If I could, I'd take it off the calendar.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't understand.
Take it off the table.
Coffee without sugar should be. Well, I got some of that right here. Coffee, no sugar.
I don't know if I could go without sugar at all. And obviously, you're getting sugar from someplace. I mean,
Yeah, well, the only sugar that I have is I have no processed sugar, but like sometimes I eat, apples, and does that count?
I mean, you're going to get fructose, from.
Yeah. But fruits and vegetables, I don't consider like no candy, no cookies, no
like bad sugars, extra. That's stuff.
Like I'll have a banana and I'll have something like that. That's it. No, I don't have any bread or anything like that. I don't.
Yeah, I only do that on like a cheat day. Like, for example, if I see my family and for my birthday they make a meal, it's probably going to be pasta. But that'll be the only time I've eaten it since the last time I was seen for an occasion. You know what I mean? It's like only on a cheat because I'm mostly at this point just salad, grilled chicken, eggs, a little whatever. It's very dull. But it gives you a sense of control and discipline, and it's also Lent. So there are dietary restrictions during Lent.
Yeah, like I just haven't had any kind of sugar that's any processed, anything like that. No breads, sandwiches, anything like that. But the first 2 weeks of it was awful. But I've been doing it now over 3 months, and
You don't even crave it. What I find is that if enough time goes by, I almost feel sick at the thought of eating it.
yeah, I don't. And that's too is that like when some people say, well, fruit has sugar, but they don't understand about like a banana is that it's very high in magnesium. It's very high in it's very high in fiber, and those things do not. Banana does not absorb into the sugar does not absorb into your blood the same way that like a cookie will. It's not even close. And a lot of the nutrients that are in there stop it from the absorption that goes into your cells the way that a lot of that does. Yeah, like
but it's a funny thing.
Potassium, yes, excuse me.
How people always assume when you're doing things like this that it's because you care about what you look like to others. And the funny thing is that I actually find that the times in life when I'm most disciplined about things like that is actually when I couldn't give a flying leap about the opinions of other people. It has nothing to do with that. It just has to do with like feeling in control. It's an organization thing for me. I mean, do you feel that way too? That makes you feel like
it's not even just
structured.
Well, it's not even like it's not even about like just weight loss. Like everything else, blood pressure, stabilized sugar, clearness of mind, just overall feeling, sleeping better, mobility, things like that. And but along that comes with it is weight loss. So it's not really that big of a. It's not a I want to look a certain way type thing. I mean, yeah, you want to look good, you want to feel good, and those things sort of go hand in hand. But I kind of came to the conclusion, Dr. Gary, that when I didn't treat myself very well, it's very hard to love other people the right way if you can't really love yourself properly.
100%.
And that I have not been able to, especially since my kids moved out, I haven't really been able, it'd been hard for me to sort of capture that again, where I wasn't caring for myself properly. And it was affecting all kinds of relationships that I was having, just even with my family. You get depressed, you get sad, you get isolated, and I just didn't want that. I didn't want to feel that way anymore. And I realized that, how am I gonna love somebody properly? How am I gonna love anybody properly if I don't give a damn about myself, and sort of be more responsible with my life, I guess. So that's what happened with me. And
well, I think that's a wonderful thing. I mean, and that's when somebody kind of pops into your life when you don't, it's when you're giving that vibe off. You know what I'm saying? You're not exactly looking, but you're feeling good and confident or whatever, because then you become a kind of a safe space mentally, and a person wants to be near that. It's comforting to be around somebody with that kind of attitude. I mean, the fact is, people, how do I say this? It is true that you're basically instructing people how to feel about you if you feel badly about yourself.
Yeah. Right.
Did you ever have the experience where a person seems to be interested in you in some way, romantically, friendly? They strike up a conversation with you. They just sort of give you a compliment, and your first thought is, out of everybody in the world, this person's interested in me. What's wrong with them?
I've thought that.
What's the catch here? I mean, how long until the other shoe drops? Am I somehow deceiving this person? What's going to happen when the lighting changes? Have you had a few drinks? That kind of thing. And I think what happens is that when you start to like you start giving the vibe off that if a person doesn't like you, that's their taste, that's their problem. In other words, like for example, I have to be honest with you, Josh. Like, if there's anything that characterizes me as a person, is that I don't feel like most people. I don't feel that I could sit with a crowd of people and fit right in. I'm like, one of these things is not like the others, right? It's just the way that it. So I've always been drawn to people who, for good or for ill, are different, whether they're criminals or people with mental illness or people with autism or people who are artists or people who are foreign or people who have strange physicality, whether it's an extremity of beauty or an extremity of disfigurement. People that are very elderly. In other words, anybody that's sort of a little bit other, right? And I've also been my whole life attracted to objects that are like that. There is not one thing I own that is not curated because it is unique. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't own a cup that isn't unusual and appealing to me in a certain level. And the reason for that, of course, is that I see the value in things that other people throw away. And I always say that to people. I always say, think of me like an antique dealer. Someone else thinks you're junk. I see that you're a treasure. It takes certain eyes to see that, right? And so what I do is I have the attitude that I can only be me and authentic to me. And most people are going to feel, for example, that I see through them too quickly, or that there's too much intensity of emotion, or I care about them too much, or it feels too much like being emotionally naked, or whatever. And people will run from that. But every once in a while, you get somebody who's very content to deal with it. In other words, at some point, I kind of took on the attitude like, I like who I am, and I'd rather just wait for someone to kind of fall out of the air. The problem is when you settle thinking that it's enough that somebody's just nice to you. Like, if you don't think very much of yourself, you'll say, wow, but I have to pick this person because they're kind to me. They can tolerate me. They listen to my boring stories. They're interested in me, whatever. So that there must be special. But you see, that's a terrible attitude to have. You should say, I should wait for somebody who appreciates me. You see what I'm saying?
Sure, yeah.
So if I have to sit around waiting for another warthog to come along, I'll wait around for of my species. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it goes, and don't you think that that's the wiser thing to do?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think so, but I also say that, I'm not even just talking romantically. I'm talking about just in general.
I don't just mean romantically, it's like that beautiful quote by Nietzsche that says, I feel like it captures so much my attitude. It says, I am a forest and a night of dark trees, but he who is not afraid of my darkness will find banks full of roses under my cypresses. Well, it's kind of like that. And so one of the things I always like about you and about Chris is that you are both people that have been rendered other by the world through grief. And I, as a consequence, can identify with both of you. And I think we make a good team. Because what we all have in common is we've all been affected by some degree of grief. It's driven all of us towards a deeper understanding of humanity, a closeness to God, and we've all channeled it into helping other people. And so those commonalities, sort of funnel us together, and you sort of stick with your own. But I think it's a beautiful thing, to get a couple of guys together and talk about these things, because most men don't. For most men, the criterion for a good date is, a person with a heartbeat is looking at me. You know what I'm saying? Which I think is depressing. Because the truth of the matter is, even though this is 2026 and everybody's forgotten it, is that the point of dating is supposed to be to kind of go somewhere, like in terms of a meaningful connection, And I hope you find a meaningful connection. I think I'll be happy for them.
Yeah, well, I have Otis and Macho.
I don't have that. I got the plants.
They're alive.
Oh yeah, they
By the way,
are. But,
I got the cactus, the cacti out of the closet like you told me to.
Oh, good. What kind of cactus is it?
I don't know. I have to send you a photo.
Can you describe it?
No. That they bloom.
What color of flower?
Pink.
Where'd you get it?
I don't know. They were my grandma's.
Oh, that's cool. I'd like to see it. I'm a big plant lover, and
well, yeah, because I was asking you like how often I'm supposed to. They're when they're not bloomed, they look ridiculous to me, but when they bloom, they're beautiful.
That's very symbolic, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. I felt like it was when I was looking at it, because I was thinking maybe we're all just trying to bloom.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And I think it's a beautiful thing to sort of pause and talk about this. And I also think that in some strange way I can't put my finger on, whenever we talk about crimes, I always think that somewhere in the center of all of them is somebody who didn't feel loved. The truth is that the whole world is divided up into people who have been, who haven't been, and who were and lost it. It's one of those three. That's everybody you ever met. And I think when you think about it that way, you start to understand how people get sort of twisted, towards darkness. You know what I'm saying? It always seems to boil down to that. That's why, as silly as it seems, you never know when you're stopping some terrible thing from happening simply by being kind.
Yeah.
To somebody. I mean, you have no idea. I mean, I'm telling you that if today somebody sent me a text message and said, "I remembered your birthday, happy birthday," I'll remember that for years. You know what I'm saying? It means a lot to people. I don't understand why people don't realize how much power there is in kindness. I think the world has taught us that we're more powerful when we're being loud and nasty. I think that kindness is almost an atomic bomb of power. It is an astounding thing. Do you ever see, for example, a fight between two people, and like a little kid says, "Why are you fighting?
Yeah.
You both like, cupcakes. Let's have cupcakes." And then the two adults realize they look like a couple of morons.
Yeah.
Well, there's something to that kind of thing. I know it's overly simplistic, but it isn't. It isn't.
I've been that little kid.
Yeah, you've been a peacemaker. Blessed are the peacemakers.
Dude, not to get into everything, but there was a lot of that when my sister did that a lot between my parents. Was she would try and broker peace. She would try and get people to stop arguing, and you guys love each other. She would yell stuff like that. And yeah, it was very so. But yeah, I remember her doing that, and then sort of like when my grandpa got sick with Parkinson's, and my grandmother, it was very hard on her as well. And sometimes my grandpa would, not know who she was. And they would kind of be at each other's, neck sometimes. And he would want to go to bed at a certain time. And she said, no, you can't go to bed now, because if you go to bed now, you'll get up at 3 a.m, and walk around, fall down, and he would just go, why can't I go to bed? And I would go, look, you guys, they never had an argument in their entire life until he got sick. And it wasn't really an argument, but, and I'd say, hey, you guys remember, you love each other. I would do that. And I think I learned that from my sister. But yeah, I've seen that, and I've experienced that as well. So,
right. And just to clarify, for people in the audience, there's a very big difference between kindness and letting people walk over you. There's a difference. I mean, you have to be boundaried and kind of also love you, right? You don't take abuse from people, but to go out into the world with the attitude of being very still and small and kind of humble, which is the total opposite of the spirit of the time, is beautiful. The spirit of the time right now, Josh, I think you would agree, is the inversion of everything that, for example, is believed in Christianity. It's the inversion of the cross. It's the indulgence of everything that is sensory and that I want to do for me. But the reality is that the world has never had anything to do with that belief system. It doesn't belong. It's too beautiful for this world, the way this world is. And I think ultimately, Josh, one of the reasons that I like to talk to you, I like to talk to you is that, I like to be very close to people who have experienced authentic heartbreak. Because I think when life breaks your heart, it's drawing you close to God. And as a consequence, there's a kind of a sanctification, a preparation process that comes. You ever been around a person who's never had any heartbreak?
yeah, I have actually.
It's that they tend to be dumb.
Ignorance is bliss.
Right. But
and usually that's not like, obviously it's not their fault. And eventually everybody's going to experience some form of heartbreak.
they're naive. Yeah, but they'll get there. But I'm telling you, heartbroken, being heartbroken gives you the humility to recognize in other people when they're heartbroken. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. I just think that people are asking me how I want to celebrate my birthday. It's, having an opportunity to kind of talk about what I think I'm here in the world to do. You know what I mean? And so I think I measure friends and family by who's there when I'm down, not when I'm up.
Absolutely.
Have you ever noticed that?
It says much more about somebody, it's like, I heard this thing the other day, and I don't want to get it too wrong, but it was like, you each have your own cup, and I look in your cup to see if I can add to your cup. You look in my cup to see how much I have, and that's the difference. It's like, what can I do to add to your life? And then somebody looks and says, why do you have what you have? How come you have what you have? How do you have so much? And even though it may not be much, it may be more than that person has, but it's not, that's not indicative of a life well lived. It has nothing to do with it,
Totally upside down. The way that I've learned to think about it after years and years of studying philosophy and religion and meditating and praying and everything else is that gain has to do with shrinkage.
Yes.
The more you give away, the more you expand. It's like the idea that all you could take with you into the next life is what you gave away. It's a strange paradox. You get smaller and smaller and smaller, and then in that smallness, what happens is that the surface area that you've sort of eliminated can now become a sort of shiny surface for God. So that saintly people, for example, are excellent reflectors of light. They have no light in and of themselves, like a bicycle reflector or the moon. They have no light at all, but they have allowed themselves through that shrinkage and humility and self-mortification to be a greater reflector of light, right? I must decrease and he must increase, right? And so what I find is that I like life best when I get to be more and more small. You see what I mean? And it's hard for people to understand that. So when someone says, you know, how are you? I think to myself, what does that even mean? I don't know. I haven't thought about it in a long time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's important, but and then what if that's what brings you closer to God, and heartbeat is like God speaking to you through a kind of megaphone. I mean, heartbreak is like God speaking through a megaphone. Then think about how he has to be personally craving a desire with a person.
Well,
Use that much stuff that's happened to them to pull them close. He doesn't cause those things, but I think he uses them.
I you know, sometimes it really does bother me because I wish that, you know, the only way to really gain wisdom is to experience life, and the older you get, the more wisdom you get, and you know, it can go one of two ways. But even 5 years ago, I wish I could see the world now the way.
Oh yeah.
I wish I could see the world, you know, how I see it now 5 years ago, because my attitude was so different, and just about life, about people, about, not that it was like it was terrible, but it wasn't what it is now. And my understanding of people has gotten I guess more profound and more thoughtful, because I realize how hard life actually is. And it's everything in life seems like it tries to deter you from being happy or good to people. And it's a very tough thing, you know. It does upset me that I just wish even 10 years ago, like my thoughts about life are so much different. My thoughts about people, and maybe the way that I treated people and the way that I treated myself. I wish that I could have been better younger, I guess, if that makes any sense.
But yesterday dies. It's like almost like every day is like the Hindu construct of a new life. It's dead. There's only today. If you were a murderer for years and years and years, and on your last day you say, I repent of it, that could be washed away. But if you were a lovely human being every day, and on your last day you went on a murder spree, that's your last day. In other words, you have to live in today. And I think forgiving yourself is very difficult. But you always have to imagine, if somebody came up to me and said, I'm the worst person who ever lived, this is what I did, and they told you the very thing that you think you did, wouldn't you tell them to forgive themselves, that it wasn't that bad? Of course you would. You'd say, I've done a hell of a lot worse than you. We all think that we're the worst. But I think self-forgiveness is a great challenge for most people. I really do. And you know, and I think a lot of times people are terrible to themselves because they think they deserve punishment.
Yeah. I like I said, look, there's not anything that anybody could say about me that I haven't said about myself in my head 1,000,000 times and 10 times worse. And so I don't really get upset about that kind of stuff. There's nobody that is harder on me than me. Nobody.
That's true.
And
I definitely can attest to that. You are very hard on yourself. And, but the thing is, maybe it's, you know, as I'm getting up there in my late 40s now, I find every year that goes on, I'm a little kinder to myself in terms of the screw ups of my earlier days, because I say, if I can go back in time, I'd probably make the same stupid mistake. I'd try better, but chances are I'd still make stupid mistakes. And most of the things that I regret the most have to do with wishing that I had told certain people how much they mattered. For example, there have been people, especially certain people who come to mind, that I loved very much. And I mean family, and I mean romantic love. And it never occurred to me that one day they would be no more. That there would be, 1 minute you're holding their hand out on the porch under a canopy of stars, feeling the wind, listening to the crickets, stridulating. And you think, this is always going to be here.
Yeah.
And the next minute, you'd give everything you have to just look at their face again.
You take those phone calls for granted. It's like sometimes you get a phone call and you go, and then sometimes, some days and
I know.
it just ends. Sometimes the phone calls stop. It's like you pick up the phone to call, your mother or your grandmother, your aunt or whoever it is. And they call and you go, oh my God, that's so annoying. Well, one day it's not going to happen anymore.
Never hear that voice again. That's right.
You will never be able to get that phone call again. You will never be able to, and to think that way is probably advantageous because you can save yourself a lot of heartache, because if you cherish what you have now, and most of us don't, because the old saying is you never know what you have until it's gone, and that's as true as anything that's ever been said before. I know it's a cliche, I guess, but you have no idea what life is like after that. Like, I lost my mother at a very young age, so I've dealt with not having my mother in my life for a long time. But when I eventually, if life goes the way that it's supposed to be, and I eventually lose my grandmother by the natural course of life, the first day that she will be gone would be the first day that I've ever experienced the world without her in it. And that is a tough thing. That's a tough thing to think about, and for everybody. When you lose somebody that's been there your whole life before you, predated you.
That's right.
One day it's going to be that you have to deal with the world without them. And that is a very, very tough thing.
Right. I remember once I wrote a speech about somebody that is older that I know that I'll lose one day sooner than later. And I read it at their birthday because I wanted them to hear it. And I said something like, the number 7 comes after the number 6. There are 8 recognized planets, and this person lives at such and such address. Like, in other words, it's part of the established, settled order of nature that person is in the world. And when they're not here anymore, it's like, it feels like the world doesn't make sense anymore. I think the hardest thing is when it takes you a long time to realize how great somebody was. They drove you crazy, you wanted to strangle them, whatever. And then when they're gone and you look at them from a different light, you say, God, that person was so good, and I didn't realize it. There's a very beautiful poem. I'm always reading poems, Josh, I'm sorry, but there's a very beautiful poem by Mary Oliver, where she thinks about her mother. And it goes like this. It's great. It's called In Praise of Craziness of a Certain Kind. And it says, on cold evenings, grandmother, not her mother. On cold evenings, my grandmother, with ownership of half her mind, the other half having flown back to Bohemia, spread newspapers over the porch floor. So, she said, the garden ants could crawl beneath as under a blanket and keep warm. And what shall I wish for myself, but being so struck by the lightning of years, to be like her with what is left, that loving. Right? Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, it is.
Well, but don't you ever find that it's only when someone is gone that you realize that the great editor of the book of your life introduced this character that seemed like a throwaway for a reason? I always think about that every single time I encounter a person. Every time I think, why did this person get put into the plot? You know? And there are a lot of people that are false positives for what I think are going to be important characters. You know, I just had that happen to me. It happens where you get very excited because of a little flicker of spirit. You have a commonality with a person. You go, ooh, there could be something there. And then you realize the person is selfish or childish, destructive, and then you just kind of go, you know, but you still wait. Like you stand outside with a bucket, you just wait for it to rain. Yeah? And it will. And what's going to happen, of course, Josh, is that when you're in the middle of all your dieting and, you know, you're running and exercising and doing your show and working and being a member of the family and everything, and you're just out and about one day, out of the random craziness of life, a person will fall into it that you're just comfortable with, and they'll stick around, and the next thing you know, you'll spend your life with them, and that'll be that. That's what'll really happen. While you're out trying to make it happen, they'll just plop in.
You know why the Indian rain dance works?
Why?
Because they don't stop dancing until it rains.
Oh, that's probably true. Yes, that'll make it work 100% of the time in most climates.
You keep trying, you keep going, you keep pushing on,
and you realize that it really doesn't have to do with the things that the world tells you it has to do with, because what's really going to happen is somebody is just going to feel comfortable with you, and then even if you weren't attractive physically, even if you weren't, somebody just starts to think you are, because they say, I don't know why, but yours is the only face that makes me feel comfortable. That's how I think all faces should look now. You see what I mean? And and that's it. And then once that person comforts you like that, you know how it goes.
I sure do.
A couple of decades later, you're sitting in the ER with them, having a heart attack, until the guy comes out and says they're okay.
What
you know, that kind of thing.
What a hope, you know. I know what you mean, man.
You know that kind of love. You know that kind of thing.
I do know that. I do.
Every single day, it's the person in the hospital, and every single day you're packing a lunch and going there.
I saw it firsthand. When my grandma was in the hospital, my grandpa was very ill, and I said, "I'm going to take you home," you know. And he looks at me, dead serious, man. This guy was sick as a dog. He says, "I'm not going home." I said, "Why not?" Says, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving her. Who am I to tell him that he has to? His wife.
You know, there was a couple in my neighborhood. I wrote a poem about them years ago. I wish I could find it. There was this old German woman. I think she was a Holocaust survivor, actually. I think she was German. German Jewish woman. And she had a husband that she took care of. They were both about 90 something. And her whole life was taking care of this guy. And he died, and she lasted, I think, 3 days, and then she died. It was like that Ben Folds song, The Luckiest, right? One died right after the other. And in the poem, I compared them to binary stars. If you know your astronomy, the binary stars it's where two stars have a magnetism that makes them whirl around each other so intensely that when you look at them, they look like one. You can't tell that they're two because they're whirling around each other with such an intense magnetism. And if one of them were to die, the other one would be hurled out into nothingness. I think that's how some people get. And then there are other people that get a different kind of love. Their love is somebody who they just get to give a lot to, and the other one just takes and takes and takes. Person like that will teach you to go to heaven. Person like that will save your soul, because they make you a Christ figure. There are people like that, and all I know is that I am convinced that the romantic and other relationships we have in this world are preparations for the way we'll love everybody in heaven. They're like learning to try a code on. God gives us a couple of them, and we love with that intensity. But one day we'll have to love everybody that way. But I think right now we can only handle a couple, and some people can't even get one. They can't get one right, And I would much rather be a person, and believe me, this is a timely statement as I reflect on certain characters that have affected my life on my birthday. But I guess in the final analysis, it's better to be the one who gave more than to be the one who got more. I would have a greater regret about being selfish. Right? If equal affection cannot be, let the more loving one be me.
Definitely.
Haven't you been in that position?
Sure I have. My life has been dedicated to taking care of others. My children, raising my children was the greatest honor of my life. Taking care of my grandfather when he was sick was one of the greatest honors of my life.
Oh.
And doing it with my grandmother as well.
That's beautiful.
Has been also. And, my sister's son lives with me now. I take care of him as well.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. They weren't really getting along that great as he got older. It wasn't terrible, but I said, I told him to come live with me, and he did. And, we have a great relationship, and
that's going to change the whole course of his life.
I think so. I mean, I think so. I'm happy that he's here. I'm happy that I get to spend a lot of time with him and talk with him and, counsel him in the ways that, my sister would always say, if anything ever happens to me, take care of my kids, and I said, well, of course. I mean, what kind of of course. And I told her, I said, Suzanne, I take care of them now. You're still here. It'll be like that until I can't anymore. I want everybody. I don't even care if I'm okay. That was a big part of my problem, was that I neglected myself while trying to keep everybody else afloat. And that's when I decided I can't take care of everybody, or I can't take care of anybody properly if I don't take care of myself properly. And that was sort of the realization that I came to, because I was taking care of everybody, but I was also neglecting myself, and I was just having, mental health issues and health issues, and not, nothing overly severe, but it was a lot. 90% of my day during the day is focusing on someone else, taking care of somebody else, whether it be, I have a neighbor that can't play fetch with his dog because he had a double shoulder replacement. He's 77 years old. He's got a 2-year-old dog. I go down there every day for half an hour. I walk down the block and I play fetch with his dog while he's out there.
Oh.
I have my other neighbor, we just took on his fence the other day, and, I do it because they're my neighbors, because I love these people. They're great people, and they deserve help, and they would help me if I ever needed it, So that's just what
I think that's great.
yeah,
And it's a great role model it makes you for young people that are, have to kind of pass the torch of this stuff.
Even when I go running through the neighborhood, I end up wasting a lot of time, and it's not really wasting time, but I end up spending a lot of time stopping and talking to my neighbors all the time. And most of my neighbors are in their 60s, and they're, so it's a nice neighborhood. It's an older neighborhood, where people kind of come retire. And, I spend a lot of time, talking with them and about their lives, and it's a great thing. It really is. And that has been a big part of, me getting out and feeling better about myself is interaction, with just people. Because there are times, and I'm sure you know this too, where people isolate themselves, and
got a battery to
what's that?
You have a battery to replete.
Yeah. So I think that a lot of my that is a lot of my day. Like I said, I got a couple of animals who are now awake and are demanding that I take them outside, and I have to care for them now too. But I'll tell you this, it's a two-way street with them, because they do bring me joy sometimes. It's been raining.
I only know that as every year goes on and I reflect on life with all of its ups and downs and people that have come in and then been gone, lost loves, objects that remind me of better times, memories of when, my knees hurt less to walk around, that kind of thing.
Sure.
Everything, in a strange way, I ultimately remember as having been a very beautiful ride. Every day that goes on, I feel the weirdest gratitude for life. As hard as it can be, it can be awful, sometimes too. But in the end, I want more of it. It's like the old Woody Allen joke, although, might not be the greatest thing to quote Woody Allen right now, given that he's, his name is in the Epstein files or something, But there's a Woody Allen joke that says that two old women are at a resort, a Catskill Mountain resort. And one says to the other one, "The food here is terrible." And the other one says, "I know, in such small portions." And he says, "Well, that's how I feel about life, with all of its negativity and everything, that it's over too quickly." You know what I'm saying? It's like somehow those things are both true at the same time. I only know that every year that goes on, as you get that beautiful shrinking down to the core of what really matters, life becomes so much simpler. You realize that as a little kid, you dreamed about visiting every country in the world. And by the time you're 80, you're happy that you went to an interesting restaurant 10 miles away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, things. Yes, you kind of consolidate and appreciate the small things a lot more. Your expectations are much more measured, and yeah, definitely. I know exactly what you mean by that.
Yeah, exactly. And so these are, these musings that we're having tonight. I don't know what prompted them. I guess, reflection on life and everything. Birthdays do that to me. I kind of wax philosophic, as they say, about things all the time. But I just, I'm very grateful for the friendship. I know that it wasn't, the greatest day for you, but you still did the show, and I got to be on with you and Chris. And
the thing was, I wanted to do the show because, to be honest with you, I wanted to spend time with you. I hadn't spent time with you, and
to blame you, I'm just so
I wanted
delicious. I mean, who could?
Chris joining was spur of the moment. I mean, that wasn't a planned thing or anything like that. We were going to do a show. We were going to take in some calls, and we will do that this weekend. Hopefully, if you're available, I would love to. but I knew that it was your birthday, and I knew that we hadn't done a show in a while, and yeah, when it doesn't happen, I miss them.
Yeah, well, listen, but I'm not kidding. And just as a final note, I'm not kidding when I say to you, I think that the time is coming very soon when someone new will come into your life, and you'll, because I think you'll be a wonderful kind of family man and kind of, but I hope it's somebody that appreciates you. And in my own case, it's very funny because somebody said to me, "Are you married?" I said, "No, I'm not married." And they said, "Oh, are you seeing anybody?" Whatever. I said, "No, I'm not." And they said something like, "In a way, it would be weird if you were." And I said, "Why? What am I, the freaking elephant man? You can't get to it." They said, "No, I just think of you like a monk." I was like, "Thanks." But I realized a lot of people see me that way.
I don't see you as a monk.
They see me as like,
I couldn't imagine you wearing
they
that.
can't picture me like, going out and having a normal, kind of time with somebody with like strolling along in Coney Island and having a conversation about cotton candy. They don't understand that I have that other side. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, they think like I'm sitting around, dressed like Chopin or something, like all day long. I mean, it's doofy, But I think that people forget that there is a wisdom to just kind of being ordinary and enjoying life.
Nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it.
But I get such a kick out of that.
Yeah, I do too.
Thought of people thinking I'm a monk who sits around and.
I don't think. Great birthday, Josh, Dr. Gary. My heart is full. The kindness and the Three Stooges. Yeah. What was I? Curly? I was curly, right?
I guess so.
I'm curly. Well, Dr. Gary, happy birthday. Thank you for being here. Also, are you still doing your music page?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Go. Let's put Dr. Gary's music page in the chat. You go check him out. He's fantastic on the piano. He's classically trained. Does beautiful music. And
have you ever actually listened to the piano?
I actually have. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, one of my favorite ones that you ever did though I don't know if it was posted on your Instagram or if it was on your piano page, but it was
a cover
when you were in the music store.
Oh, you mean when I was playing the pianos at the same time?
Yeah. You were rocking on that one. I really thought that was very.
Well,
very
I like to do that where that's my Tori Amos trick.
I'm a percussionist.
Play on to. What do you play?
I play the drums.
Oh, we've got to get together and play sometime. I would love that.
I started playing the drums when I was 11, but I mean, I also, I played the trumpet. I played some saxophone.
I didn't know you played the trumpet. That's
amazing. Yeah, I've dabbled in everything. One time I tried to play When the Saints Go Marching In at a bar, and a lady got so pissed that I was playing it that she dumped beer down my trumpet.
Really?
Yeah, she was hammered.
Oh, well, I mean, you are a percussionist, so you should have done the hammering. but my favorite instrument, hands down, is the cello.
Yeah, you told me that. Yeah, you told me.
Just the sound of a cello I can't explain to you how I feel about it. It's just such a lonely instrument. It's so plaintive and it cries out, it has this, it makes you want to sort of hug it. And it's a very sensual instrument, when somebody plays it. It's an incredibly beautiful instrument, I'm telling you. And I remember one time when I was a kid, I was walking through a carnival, and this deranged old crone that thought she was a psychic, or at least played one at the carnival, called out to me. She said, "You!" And she came over. It was like something out of like a bad, EC Comics or something. I came over and I was like, "What?" And she said, "You have an old soul." And I said, "Thank you." And I'm surprised. If it was now, I would look at my shoe, to make a pun. She said, "You have an old soul." I said, "Thank you." And then she said, "You'll marry a violinist." And I to this day I haven't met the violinist. But I always remember that when I was a little kid being told, "You ever have make a
marry a horticulturalist?"
Oh, don't plant that idea in my head. but seriously, what did you ever go to one of the, or have a person give you a prediction about yourself like that?
Nah, if they did, I didn't pay attention.
Oh, well, I always remember that because she was so creepy, and she did that thing where like you point.
Yeah, you have a lot of like, interactions that I would probably walk away from.
I'm telling you, I'm a magnet for people that are like.
I know that, and that's what I'm saying. Like,
circle.
if somebody was to point at me and go, "You," I would go, "Get away," and walk the other way.
Yeah.
I would feel weird about that. I wouldn't say get away, but I would definitely cross the street.
Oh, she was creeptastic, but listen, to this day, I wait for the violinist. I mean, she made it up, but it was a nice idea.
Of course, she was probably on lithium.
Oh, yeah. Well, she was definitely a little salty. Anyway,
I appreciate it.
No, I really appreciated the.
Well, let's do a call-in show this weekend
on my birthday. Yes, let's do a call-in show. I think people benefit from them.
Yeah, we'll just do a broad call-in, whatever.
You know who I miss? I haven't heard from Linda. I wrote her a note. You remember Linda from Surprise
in the chat earlier.
I miss her. She gave me a place to send a note. Remember? I said I was going to send her a note. I wrote a note. I mailed it. I never heard from her again. I'm dying to know. Did she have the note? Does she carry it?
I don't know. She was here.
Oh, I would love to know what happened to her. And Zoe, I see in the audience.
She said it was 10 years since her husband had passed. So
I play air violin. Does that count?
No, it doesn't count.
Right, no strings.
Oh, it counts. It counts. So, we'll either do Thursday or Friday night, I guess. Whatever is good for the doctor.
Yes, I'm actually going to be recording for a pretty big name show. Everyone has heard of the person, but I'm not supposed to mention it until it occurs. Okay. But that'll be really cool. It's on my bucket list. Another thing that was on my bucket list happened this week. I was in the National Enquirer.
That was on your bucket list?
Yes, because it's so ridiculous to be in the National Enquirer. I just always wanted to be able to say I was in the National Enquirer. Just think about it. I mean, and it wasn't anything bizarre, like Bat Boy mates with bones of Elephant Man, that kind of thing. But there I was. It was about an idea about Koberger.
Well, I'm still waiting for my article to come out. So, but that'll happen.
Oh no, I know for a fact that's coming out.
Yeah. I'm not telling you.
The story has filled the news up.
I know that. Look, I totally understood that. I get it. It was like one of the biggest stories in the last 10 years happened. Right after I did my interview. So, Yeah, but I know.
You don't tell anybody what that interview was until it happens.
I will not say who it's with. I will not say what it's about.
Well, you better tell me what day you want to do the.
I can do it either. I can do it Friday.
Well, because I want to treat myself and go see the new Scream movie.
Oh, very nice.
I've got a plan to do that on whatever the other night is, because I'm a sucker for the Scream movies. They're ridiculous and they crack me up.
I can do Thursday or Saturday. I can't do Friday.
Okay.
So
you can't do Friday?
You cannot do Friday.
So Thursday makes the most sense. Incidentally, are you a fan of the Scream movies?
Yeah, I used to be. I haven't seen them in years. You know what I'm a fan of?
Danny Rowling.
The scary movies, the spoofs.
Oh, I love them.
New one's coming out, right?
I cannot wait.
Those are what I like. So
my favorite is Chris Elliott with the little hand.
Take my kid. He's in the new one.
I can't handle him. And he says, remember when he serving the turkey?
Oh God. Shoves his hand right up the turkey.
I can't handle it.
What about when he whisked the mashed potatoes with his hand?
Yeah, I can't handle it. What about when he has the little fight with David Cross and they're insulting each other? He's making fun of that he can't ambulate, and he's making fun of he doesn't have a full hand. I can't handle it.
Yeah, I can't handle it.
It's hysterical. I think that's my favorite one in the series.
Mine too. Though
because he won't grab his hand.
Yeah, take my good hand. He's like, no, get it away from me. He'd rather fall out of the window than Linda says that she gave you the wrong zip code.
Oh no. Linda, do you realize that some stranger out there is reading a beautiful, heartfelt note?
That's
so sad. I knew that you probably didn't get it. You would have responded.
That's I don't know how many it is. How many screams are there now?
Lord, who knows?
I do like them though. Yeah, no, they were, but I like Officer Doofy and the butler.
Oh, I can't handle it. And I'm crazy about Tim Curry. So of course,
Yeah,
but where's Linda? Linda, the problem is, I think you emailed me on the Psychology Today email, and those aren't working anymore. I just get like messages I can't open. So just send it to drgarybrucato at gmail.com, drgarybrucato at gmail.com, and I'll get it. Okay. And I guess I'll send another one. If you get the first one, well, I hope you don't like it better.
Surprise.
Right. I knew that that it didn't make sense that I didn't hear from her.
I figured too.
All right. So Thursday it is for a call in.
Yeah, let's do Thursday. That'd be great.
You're gonna have is Chris gonna come back?
I can invite him. Yeah, why not?
I mean, I just think if we're doing a call in, we should just jump right in and do a call.
Absolutely, right away.
Okay. All right.
Sounds
All right.
good.
And don't be surprised if the Guthrie thing comes to a close.
I won't be. I won't be surprised either way.
No, because I think Chris is right. It looks like they're going to charge some.
Probably. I hope so.
Otherwise, I don't.
I hope they get the right guy too.
Listen. Eventually, pray, pray about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Dr. Gary. Thanks.
Take care.
All right, everybody. That was it's a great show. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for being here. And I guess we'll see you on Thursday. We'll take some calls. So get here and we'll try and get through as many as possible. And I appreciate everybody. Thank you again. Thank you for the donations. Thank you for the memberships. Thank you for the comments. Like this stream, share it out. And it was almost like two shows and like three different shows in one. There's a beginning, we had the middle, and then the ending. And, that's what we like to do when we get together. So I appreciate you all very much. And we'll catch you on the next one. you.